Chapter 1548. In his opinion, the blue sea blessing did not have much effect on him. The princess with the sacred sword in her arms, the princess robe engraved into the vast water world. Aquatic phase below the creation breed used water elemental energy to attack him. He could resist the sacred sword-wielding queen's water element resistance. Furthermore, Lin Yuan was not an aquatic fae. The blue sea blessing could not allow him to rapidly increase his strength like a water-type fae. However, it could make his skin more moisturized and better. In his opinion, the blue sea blessing was only slightly useful. The blue sea blessing was probably the only thing that could prevent him from receiving hostility from aquatic faes. As a matter of fact, not all of the faes that used the water element as their source of energy lived in water. Some terrestrial faes could also use water as their source of energy. It could be said that in the eyes of these faes, within 10 years Lin Yuan would be the most fragrant cake. When it came to Shueshua did not take out anything. Instead, he looked at Lin Yuan and said very sincerely, "You are my daughter's savior, so you are also my savior." After saying that, Shueshua pointed to the sun above his head. The 8 sun chains descended from the sun. Shueshua said solemnly, standing between the 8 winding suns, "I, Shueshua, swear by the sun. For the rest of my life I will be Lin Yuan's protector." Shueshua's words stunned the mother of Bloodbath, Lin Yuan, the Spacetime Elder and Mystic Moon. The mother of Bloodbath was shocked that her father was doing this for the sake of her savior. He was actually willing to sacrifice the rest of his life. Just from this, the mother of Bloodbath knew how much Shueshua loved her. On the other hand, Mystic Moon and the Spacetime Elder were shocked by the fact that the Hall Master of the Heaven's Blessed Mansion, one of the top factions in the Origin world, was the Heaven's Blessed Mansion. How could Shueshua swear on the celestial phenomenon of the Sea Clan so easily? In the eyes of Mystic Moon and the Spacetime Elder, this was an extremely reckless action. No matter how grateful he was, his status was still there. According to Mystic Moon and the Spacetime Elder's understanding, when one stood in a certain position and took on a certain identity, the Spacetime Elder would not be able to control himself. He couldn't do things as he pleased. However, Blue Lotus and White Phoenix did not stop Shueshua. Instead, the expression on his face was very normal. This made Mystic Moon and the Spacetime Elder realize how casual the blessed spirits were. How sentimental. No wonder it was rumored that after the death of the celestial Corona Jade Spider, the Grand Master of the Blessed Heaven Dojo, Ziqing, risked half her life and went to the Pagoda Cannon alone, killing the fate page of the Pagoda Cannon. Lin Yuan scratched his head awkwardly. The mother of Bloodbath was his path protector, and Shueshua had also become his path protector. If that was the case, then Blood Beginning and the mother of Bloodbath would have to fight. Wouldn't they become colleagues? Shueshua, who had made an oath with the sun, arrived in front of Lin Yuan and said, "Let's go. I can see that Xiao Qing will never leave you. I might as well become your protector to thank you for saving little Qing's life and for helping her so many times. Thank you. From now on, I will do my best to protect you on your journey on the wind." Shueshua looked at Lan Lian and Baifeng as he spoke. "When you go back, help me tell Sister Ziqing that I won't be returning to Heaven Blessed Mansion within 100 years. Shueshua had made it clear that he wanted to protect Lin Yuan for 100 years. The one who was the most excited was Xianyu. A Heaven's Blessed Mansion master became Lin Yuan's protector. From today onwards, Lin Yuan was bound to the Heaven Blessed Mansion. Furthermore, this bond was very strong. Xianyu could see that Shueshua was a blessed spirit that had achieved eternal. Although Shueshua's aura was much weaker than Lan Lian and Baifeng's. However, a blessed spirit had achieved eternal, and an ordinary fae had achieved eternal. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. A blessed spirit that had just achieved eternal had the strength to crush a pinnacle eternal fae. A pinnacle eternal fae could even go toe-to-toe with an eternal fae. The special nature of a blessed spirit was the Heaven Blessed Mansion's confidence. It was also the fundamental reason why the Heaven Blessed Mansion could stand proudly in the world and become a faction on par with the 3 major federations. Among the 3 major federations, the Heaven Blessed Mansion's reputation was not inferior to the Pagoda Cannon. Given the blessed spirit's unity and unwavering personality, Shueshua had become Lin Yuan's protector. Lan Lian and Baifeng had acknowledged Lin Yuan. Lan Lian and Baifeng's attitude was enough to represent the other blessed spirits. Looking at Spacetime Elder, who was commanding the ethereal Mother Shellfish, Xianyu said, "Lord Spacetime, there's nothing for you to do here. Right now, one of the Hall Masters of the Blessed Dojo has become the protector of our young highness. This is a private matter of our Radiant Moon Palace. I'll bring them to the Leaning Moon Mountain. There's no need for them to wait in the ascending dragon city. The spacetime elder curled his lips. Damn it. The mysterious moon emissary was telling this old man to get lost. If it were any other time, Elder Spacetime would definitely argue with Mystic Moon. But now Xianyu had also reached that level. The spacetime old man scoffed. The Moon Empress has yet to come out of seclusion, but she brought all the people from the heaven-blessed dojo to the Leaning Moon Mountain. Isn't it against the rules for the host to host a banquet without going out? Mystic Moon patted Lin Yuan's shoulder and said, Your Highness is also our Radiant Moon Palace's palace master. With the young lord around, even if the Moon Empress doesn't come out of seclusion, there are no guests that cannot be entertained. It just so happens that Night Leaning Moon is also on Leaning Moon Mountain. If you want to thank someone, you can thank Night Leaning Moon first. The spacetime elder was slightly surprised at Lin Yuan's position in Mystic Moon's heart. The spacetime elder never expected that Mystic Moon would think so highly of Lin Yuan. She had moved Lin Yuan to a position comparable to the Moon Empress. Her disciple had already grown to a level where he could hold his own. Meanwhile, his granddaughter had not even tamed a sacred source life form. She could only seal the sacred source life form and undergo training. With that thought, the spacetime elder waved his hand and recalled the ethereal mother shellfish. With a flick of his sleeve, he returned to the Hump Valley where Ostrich Logistics was located. Although the spacetime elder had left, the cover in the sky was still there. Dense spiritual energy formed a curtain that covered the sky. It covered the figures of Mystic Moon, Lin Yuan, Shuaishua, and the others. The mother of Bloodbath forcibly suppressed the throbbing in its heart and did not tell Shuaishua that Lin Yuan had revived its mother. This was because this matter was too important to its father, Shuaishua. It was too important. The mother of Bloodbath could not bear to let its father have hope. Not long after, the hope in its heart would once again be dashed. This would undoubtedly cause a second injury to its father. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan give it a look. The mother of Bloodbath immediately knew that Lin Yuan intended to take it to the field to see the situation. They wanted to see if they could collect its mother's soul before making further plans. Right at this moment, even though it was noon, a full moon suddenly appeared in the sky. Chapter 1549. At that moment, thousands of moonlight chains descended from the bright moon. They smashed the 8 sun chains that Shuaishua had led down. A wolf-like howl came from the direction of the Radiant Moon Palace. It resounded over the entire royal capital. This howl was neither cunning nor violent. It was clearly a howl, but it sounded very cold. There was a trace of arrogance in the coldness. This howl made the other high lords look in the direction of the Radiant Moon Palace at the same time. In the palace of cooking incense, an old man was so angry that he was glaring. He shouted at a middle-aged man. Li Zhonglin, I'm not just your master. You married my daughter and you still have to call me father. Look at what you've done. I only have 1 sow left of my kitchen spirit fragrant pig. You've taken all the other kitchen spirit fragrant pigs. Where do you want me to find a boar to breed with? Are you going to breed with it? Hearing the old man's angry roar, the middle-aged man pouted and said, Master, you have to say this every time you see me. Master, you have to say this to me every time you meet me. Isn't it all in the past now? The old man felt a little dizzy from anger. It's all in the past? I thought it was all in the past. But why did you fucking uproot all my 7 revolution citronella? The middle-aged man said matter-of-factly. Master, the Radiance 100 sequence test is coming soon. I plan to practice a few more specialties and cook a table for little Yuan. That child's parents are no longer around. Jiao Jiao and I never had a child. Little Lin Yuan and little Chu Ci are no different from our children. We watched them grow up. At the mention of Lin Yuan, Chef Supreme stopped talking. Usually Chef Supreme would say, you can cook for whoever you want. You can cook for whomever you like. But why did you use my 7 revolution citronella? After eating the spirit fragrant pig, I didn't expect that my 7 revolution citronella would be uprooted one day. However, because of Lin Yuan, Zhongzhe suppressed his bad luck. And in the future, it was very likely that the bad luck would be completely eliminated. Chef Supreme had a total of 3 disciples. The first disciple was unruly, and the second only knew how to open a restaurant chain. Supreme Chef placed all his hopes on Zhongzhe. Therefore, Chef Supreme kept Lin Yuan's help in his heart. At this moment, a wolf howl rang in Supreme Chef's ears. Supreme Chef narrowed his eyes and sighed. The Moon Empress' favored spirit, the Saint Weeping Moon Beast, has actually broken through to that realm. Now, there is finally a second heavenly chosen spirit in the origin world that has crossed that threshold. At this point, Supreme Chef put his hand on his beard and gently stroked it. He was deep in thought. When the holy weeping moon beast was with the Moon Empress, it wasn't outstanding among the heaven-blessed dojo's many dojo lords. The Moon Empress' help was definitely related to him being able to reach this stage. It seemed like the Moon Empress creation master standard had improved tremendously. The younger generation will surpass us in time. However, he also had a unique skill that he had yet to reveal. It must be the same with Bamboo Monarch. Everyone was concealing their strength, not revealing it. But at the crucial moment, this group of old friends would always surprise each other. He was surprisingly reliable. The bright moon represented the Moon Empress. This was common knowledge in the hearts of all Radiance people. For the past 10 years, the bright moon in the sky rarely moved. It was only in the recent year that the bright moon in the sky started to move more often. But now, the moonlight was falling on the royal capital. This was the first time that the royal capital was wrapped in thousands of moonlight ribbons. Many people on the street had already raised their hands and shouted for the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan and Mystic Moon's faces were filled with joy. The moon in the sky was changing, which meant that the Moon Empress should be out of seclusion. At this moment, Lin Yuan's phone rang. Lin Yuan looked at his phone and saw that it was his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan quickly picked up the phone. The Moon Empress said softly, "Little Yuan, master is out of seclusion. Little Yuan, master is out of seclusion. When do you have time to come to the Radiant Moon Palace? Master has prepared delicious food for you." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan revealed a bright smile on his face. His small white teeth dazzled Mystic Moon a little. "Master, I am with Uncle Mystic. We are preparing to go over. There are also a few heaven-blessed dojo masters here. They say they want to visit you at the Radiant Moon Palace. The mother of Bloodbath's father is among them." When the Moon Empress heard that, she knew that she was in seclusion. The mother of Bloodbath had successfully awakened the Sky Corona Jade Spider bloodline in its body. Shueshua had rushed over by sensing the bloodline. He knew that the mother of Bloodbath was his long-lost daughter. It seemed that his initial plan for Lin Yuan as a path protector had succeeded. He raised his hand and looked at the moonlight that had condensed into a moonlight scepter. The Moon Queen shook her head. Previously, the Moon Empress knew that her days were numbered. Therefore, he put in a lot of effort to plan for Lin Yuan. But now that crescent moon finally collapsed. The Moon Empress didn't dare to say that there wasn't anyone stronger than her in this world. Even the other majesties of the Huiyao Empire had their own trump cards. No one could say who was stronger and who was weaker if they didn't use their full strength until it was a matter of life and death. Now, even if the Moon Empress did not plan anything for Lin Yuan, she could not help him. It could still allow Lin Yuan to walk on equal footing with Blue Moon. Although she had such confidence, when the Moon Empress encountered a fortuitous encounter, she would definitely not be able to do so. She still wouldn't stop planning for Lin Yuan. It was unknown if it was the urgency of having only 3 years of lifespan that affected the Moon Empress. Or after accepting Lin Yuan as a disciple, her responsibility as a master affected the Moon Empress. In short, the Moon Empress found the most suitable path to be Lin Yuan's master. In the Moon Empress' opinion, this path was very simple. Lin Yuan had his own adventurous nature. He didn't like to rely on others. As his master, she only needed to be strong enough to be Lin Yuan's backer forever. At that moment, a huge white wolf was crawling at the Moon Empress' feet. The wolf's fur was slender, light, and full of moonlight. The wolf's eyes were like 2 bright moons and there were 2 clear blue tear grooves. A little rabbit was standing on top of the wolf's head. It was gnawing on the carrot. As it gnawed, its aura was constantly rising. A flickering fluorescent lattice flew out from the top of the little rabbit's head. For a moment, surging power poured out of the Radiant Moon Palace. Just as this aura was about to pierce the sky, the Moon Empress stretched out her hand and rotated her fingers. Tens of thousands of moonlight chains extended endlessly from the sky. They fell into the Radiant Moon Palace, wrapping the entire Radiant Moon Palace into a cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the Moon Empress spoke to the Moonlight Wolf. "Holy Weeping Moon Beast, release your aura to your heart's content and shine with the bright moon. After taking this step, as long as you can take another step forward. You can also be like Zishi and manifest your life providence." As she spoke, the Moon Empress sighed. The Moon Empress did not expect Zishi to be affected by her breakthrough on top of its original foundation. She took another step forward. Even Zishi's sacred source life form was enhanced. Chapter 1550. Zishi's breakthrough in strength was not just the Moon Empress' confidence. At the same time, it was Huiyao's trump card. In particular, he found out from the phone that the 3 heaven-blessed mansion masters were in the capital. Thus, the Moon Empress made a move to suppress Zishi's aura. When the Holy Weeping Moon Beast heard the Moon Empress command, it let out another howl. Holy Wolf howls to the moon. At that moment, everyone in the Radiance Royal Capital saw a huge wolf head phantom appear behind Mingyu. 2 streaks of azure tears flowed out of the crescent-shaped eyes of the giant wolf. Like a stream, it filled her tears and flowed towards the bright moon. It was as if these tears had gathered to form the bright moon in the sky. The bright moon became even brighter under the giant wolf's tears. In an instant, the moonlight around the bright moon seemed to burn intensely. A large amount of moonlight turned into flames, completely covering the radiance of the sun. The moonlight flames flowed back into the giant wolf's eyes, burning them. Then the color of the giant wolf's eyes slowly darkened. Finally, it turned into a dark gold color. 3 crescent moons rotated in the giant wolf's eyes. It was as if a day had passed as the bright moon rotated in the giant wolf's eyes. Lin Yuan, who was staring into the behemoth's eyes, felt as though the bright moon was rotating in the behemoth's eyes. He felt as if he had aged. But soon the crescent moon in the giant beast's eyes reversed. The 3 crescent moons converged into a full moon. At that moment, everyone in Huiyao felt that their vitality had been replenished. Even his body became more and more energetic. Xianyu said softly. The Holy Weeping Lunar Beast has activated Full Moon's gaze. Under the gaze of the Full Moon's stare, everyone has absorbed a drop of the Holy Weeping Moon Beast's tear. The 10,000 tears of the Weeping Holy Moon Beast are the main ingredient for 1 Moon Dew recovery pill. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to lament how many Moon Dew revival pills this was equivalent to giving away. Bai Feng sighed in shock. This is impossible. Even Holy Weep's talent is inferior to mine. How could Holy Sob reach Sister Zi Qing's level? Lan Lian sighed faintly. Bai Feng, you still bear grudges. Back then, Saint Weep left the Blessed Paradise Mansion in order to find a better future for himself. I don't want to be limited by my talent and be mediocre all my life. Holy Sob willingly followed the Moon Empress. Now that Holy Sob has really obtained an opportunity from the Moon Empress, we should be happy for Big Sister Holy Sob. When you were young, Sister Holy Weep plucked your hair. But isn't that because your hair was stained with the ice mist's cold devouring mist? If you don't pluck that strand of hair that has been contaminated by the devouring cold mist, you'll definitely fall sick. Shueshua did not know Holy Weep. This was because when Shueshua joined the Blessed Mansion, Holy Sob was no longer there. Shueshua could feel the moonlight released by the moon in the sky. He had completely blocked the communication between himself and the sun. And this was under the condition that Yuhua didn't target him. Shueshua wasn't sure. Could the sun still send down the sun chain? Shueshua felt that even if he could, he was afraid that it would be like a chain descending from the sun. It should only be as thick as a finger. Previously, Shueshua had always felt that the radiance of the sun in the sky would always suppress the moon. But now it seemed that this was not the case. This allowed Shueshua to see his future and the path he was going to take. This was because Shueshua could feel that the blessed spirit Holy Weeping Moon Beast was not communicating with the moon. It was letting the moon descend its power. Instead, it was on the same level as the moon. It was shining with the moon. The power triggered by the blessed spirit Holy Weeping's breakthrough would be rewarded by the whole world. Big Sister Ziching must already know about Holy Sob's situation and be happy for Holy Sob. At this moment, all kinds of Gales gathered at Radiance, which had become the gathering place of the Gales. This was a situation that all the major factions had intentionally created by chance and coincidence. Before arriving at Radiance, Shueshua, Blue Lotus and White Phoenix were cleaning up the Tower Cannon stronghold. They received news that experts from the Tower Cannon were rushing to Radiance. The Tower Cannon and the Freedom Federation were both enemies of Radiance. If these 2 parties gathered together, they would not cause trouble in Radiance. This was obviously impossible. Perhaps the 2 parties would even join forces. The Azure Federation's current stance was unknown. The main purpose of the Blessed Mansion coming to Radiance was to find the new blessed spirit Holy Weeping Moon Beast that could absorb the weather. Secondly, it was to help Shueshua find his lost daughter. Now, the mother of Bloodbath had been found. Their remaining goal seemed to be to find the blessed spirit Holy Weeping Moon Beast. However, facing the people from the Tower Cannon, Blue Lotus, White Phoenix and Shueshua would definitely find it. They would fight to the death. The already chaotic situation was now suppressed by the phenomenon of the Holy Weeping Moon Beast breaking through to the Eternal Realm and shining with the moon. A blessed spirit holy weeping moon beast above the eternal realm was already a peak expert in the world. However, this blessed spirit holy weeping moon beast did not belong to the blessed mansion but to the moon empress. With the holy weeping moon beast in the open, this chaotic situation was destined to be suppressed. However, the calmer the water, the deeper the undercurrent. It was unknown what kind of changes this deep and calm water would bring to radiance. At this moment, the moonlight chains that had wrapped the radiant moon palace into a cocoon had already dissipated. The holy weeping moon beast, which was looked up to by all the experts in the world, was trembling in front of a little white rabbit. The last ray of purple intent was restrained by Zishi into her eyes. Zishi flicked her ears and placed the carrot in a safe position behind her. Then she used her little tail to gently cover the carrot leaf. Zishi had done this because she had learned from the Moon Empress that Lin Yuan was coming. Previously, when facing Lin Yuan, Zishi could completely ignore him. However, Lin Yuan had saved the Moon Empress, whose lifespan was short, and brought her a lifespan rat. He had also taken out pure spirit qi that even the Moon Empress could not concoct. It was also because of the pure spirit qi that Lin Yuan had taken out that Zishi could improve further. Thus, if Lin Yuan really asked Zishi for the carrot, Zishi really had no way to refuse. At this moment, someone knocked on the Moon Empress' bedroom door. Night Leaning Moon walked in. Night Leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress and said, "Congratulations. Congratulations, looks like we were worried for nothing. You have succeeded in taking that step. Your lifespan crisis has been resolved." As she spoke, Night Leaning Moon's voice gradually became choked. If someone said that she was the chief guard of the spirit guards, the stone-faced Night Leaning Moon would choke. Even if other High Lords heard it, they would definitely treat it as a joke or a rumor. However, in front of the Moon Empress, Night Leaning Moon shed all her coldness. Just like back then when the Moon Empress and Night Leaning Moon became Radiance envoys together. It was the same when Night Leaning Moon congratulated the Moon Empress. It was just that back then she was not mature enough and made a fool of herself. Just as Night Leaning Moon was reminiscing about the past, she heard the Moon Empress smile gently at her. "Qingyue, thank you for guarding me in the Radiant Moon Palace. You helped me suppress my aura when I was breaking through." Night Leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress' smile in a daze. It was just like when she was young and looked at the Moon Empress' smile in a daze. End of this chapter. Chapter 1551. On top of the head of a sea snake that was nearly a kilometer long. A little lowly in girl next door attire sat there. The little lowly looked at the phantom wolf head behind the moon. The expression on his face became solemn. Behind the little lowly stood an uncle who gave off the feeling that he was exceptionally righteous. The uncle looked down at the little lowly and snorted. Second page revival. The Moon Empress Holy Weeping Moon Beast has broken through to the Eternal Realm. Can you defeat the Holy Weeping Moon Beast above the Eternal Realm? Don't forget how the Page of Destiny was killed by that old fox from the heaven-blessed mansion. After all, when the Page of Destiny died, you were the only one by his side. Hearing this, the little lowly stood up. Her eyes instantly turned gray, and a gray mist filled with the aura of death emanated from her body. A pair of gray wings extended from the little lowly's back. The giant sea snake under her feet was infected by the aura of death. In an instant, its flesh and blood melted, turning into ghastly white bones that fell to the bottom of the sea. Second page revival said coldly. Sixth page whip, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You just need to follow Crimson Page's instructions and activate the Black Mass Cup in the Radiance. You don't need to do anything else. The Page of Destiny was killed by Zi Qing, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of the Holy Weeping Moon Beast. The 4 horsemen have left the Renaissance Tower and are on their way to the Radiance. The tower cannon has already planted the seed of the Hibernator's revival. Due to the conflict between the Freedom Federation and the Radiance Federation, they took the initiative to contact the tower cannon. Second page revival paused for a moment before continuing. Sixth page whip, before activating the Black Mass Cup, you will hide among the Freedom Federation's envoys. I will act on my own and find out where the seeds of the Gardner Konjac are. Sixth page whip said with a gloomy expression. The seeds and ramets of the Gardner Konjac have disappeared. This means that something big must have happened to the whale ocean trade. Second page revival, you always said that seventh page war is incompetent. But your plan for the Radiance Federation is not as successful as seventh page war. At the very least, seventh page war successfully used the sacred source life form to open the dimensional rift in the Radiance Federation sea region. Lashing page 6 words stabbed right into page 2's sore spot. Second page revival flapped the wings on his back and moved away from sixth page whipping in a flash. Seeing this, 6 Pages Whip didn't chase after him. Instead, he stood in place, waiting for the arrival of the Freedom Federation's diplomatic mission. Looking at the turbulent sea, 6 Page Whipping had a feeling that something was amiss. He was clearly one of the 8 pages of the pagoda cannon. But why did he always feel like there was a pair of large hands behind his back, controlling him? Moreover, ever since Crimson Page appeared, Second Renaissance Page's attitude towards Crimson Page had changed. It was really interesting. It was as if he had become a lackey of Crimson Page. He almost called out to Scarlet Page. Suddenly, a sly smile appeared on 6 Page Whipping's face as he muttered, "I can't understand the pagoda manual anymore. Why must the 8 pages of the pagoda cannon stand on the pagoda cannon side during this gathering? I want to see what the second page of revival is planning. Who exactly is Scarlet Page?" Thinking of this, the 6th Page Whip didn't continue to wait for the Freedom Federation's diplomatic mission to arrive. Instead, he chose another direction and headed toward Huiyao alone. In the Freedom Temple, the holy weeping moon beast had broken through to the eternal realm because of the moon phenomenon. It was a rare occasion for the Freedom Federation to have 9 people gathered together. Before the service, the 9 men held a meeting. Du Miao frowned as he looked at the sky and the illusory wolf head behind the moon. Huiyao now has one more pinnacle powerhouse. The Blessed Dojo will definitely use this opportunity to contact Huiyao. With the holy weeping lunar beast in the middle, the Radiance Federation and the Heaven Blessed Dojo might form an alliance. I heard from the diplomatic mission that the Azure Federation is unwilling to cooperate with our Freedom Federation. Ever since the world was divided, there hasn't been a change in 1,000 years. We should take action against Huiyao in advance. The other majesties fiddled with the items in their hands and pondered. Currently, the Freedom Federation and the Radiance Federation had a 2-year agreement. Now that the Radiance Glory's peak combat power had been strengthened, it wouldn't benefit the Freedom Federation at all. Thus, the Freedom Federation had to take action. However, it was necessary to discuss what kind of method to take. Since the previous conflict, only Du Miao had fought against Huiyao in the past 10 years. Du Miao used the sacred source life form Boiling Platycodon to activate a big move above Huiyao. It triggered the volcano phenomenon. In the end, it was stopped by the Radiance Federation. It could be said that most of Huiyao's hatred was concentrated on Du Miao. Thus, all the majesties were waiting for Du Miao to make the first suggestion. This way, Du Miao would have to bear most of the expenses of this operation against Huiyao. The Freedom Federation prioritized private interests. Every meeting before the week was a game of resources. Seeing that the others had no intention of responding to him, Du Miao's face revealed anger. "If you guys don't want to interfere in this matter, I won't bother either. However, don't regret the Myriad States Convention in 2 years." At that moment, a middle-aged man in a red robe spoke. As for the Radiance Federation's layout in 2 years, it has already been arranged during the previous meeting. Du Miao doesn't need to worry about the rest of us. The experts of the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan have already left for the Radiance sect. The Radiance sect will definitely not let this matter go lightly. Du Miao, I'm afraid that all the resources you've invested in the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan will be wasted. When the man spoke, his face revealed a gloating expression. When Du Miao heard that, his pupils constricted. Last time, he decided to bring the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids to the Freedom Federation's seas to recuperate. This indeed involved the interests of the others. But Du Miao didn't think that the others would actually hold a grudge. He didn't even know the contents of the meeting afterwards. But Du Miao didn't mind not knowing this. Everyone here is the Freedom Federation's majesty, sitting together on this seat. Not everyone could trip him up just because of a few words directed at him. However, a new pinnacle expert had clearly appeared on the Radiance's side. However, not only did these people's expressions not change at all, there was even a hint of confidence and cunning in him. This made Du Miao a little curious. What kind of tricks did the others come up with in the last discussion? Lin Yuan and Xian Yu had already returned to the Radiant Moon Palace. Shui Shua, Bai Feng, and Lan Lian wanted to thank the Moon Empress for helping the Jade Gui previously, and for saving the Mother of Bloodbath's life. They walked step by step from the foot of the Leaning Moon Mountain to the Radiant Moon Palace. They didn't choose to fly high in the sky. Chapter 1552. The location of the heaven's blessed abode was the world's most auspicious paradise. But when they arrived at the Leaning Moon Mountain, they looked at the surrounding phase and spiritual ingredients. They looked at the grass spring water that flowed through the entire Leaning Moon Mountain. Blue Lotus, Bai Feng, and Shui Shua realized, The man-made landscape wasn't as harmonious as the natural landscape, but it wasn't inferior to the natural landscape. Sometimes it even survived a calamity. This was because it used the unique means of a Class 5 creation master. Bai Feng now understood why Holy Sob insisted on staying by the Moon Empress' side. By staying by the Moon Empress' side, he could frequently receive the nourishment of pure spirit qi. In addition, the Moon Empress' other phase were also related to the moon. These must be the fundamental reasons why Holy Sob was able to cross that hurdle despite his mediocre aptitude. The Moon Empress was seething with anger. Night-leaning Moon was talking to the Moon Empress about the recent whale ocean trade. The Moon Empress didn't expect that Lin Yuan would personally face danger while she was in seclusion. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Lin Yuan used his own method to control Di Wanmi's body and obtained a Class 5 creation master. Night-leaning Moon looked at the Moon Empress' angry face and said, "When I first met Lin Yuan, I felt that he was overly strong. From Lu Jie, I knew that Lin Yuan was a person who liked to do everything by himself. I always thought that such a person was good, but it was easy for unnecessary accidents to occur in important matters. But after the previous contact, I realized that I underestimated Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's focus is on his own requirements. When facing a major matter, Lin Yuan was not sure if he could handle it, so he immediately contacted Night-leaning Moon. When I reported this matter to the imperial court, I didn't mention that Lin Yuan controlled Di Wanmi. You're Lin Yuan's master, and now you're out of seclusion. How to resolve it depends on you." When the Moon Empress heard Night-leaning Moon praising Lin Yuan, she revealed a proud smile. But when she heard that Night-leaning Moon didn't report to the imperial court about Lin Yuan controlling Di Wanmi, the Moon Empress looked at Night-leaning Moon deeply and said, "Qingyue, I owe you a favor. As for little Yuan, I plan to let him develop freely according to his original wishes. As his master, all I have to do is to protect him. Why must I interfere? Therefore, how should this matter be finally decided? I plan to let little Yuan decide for himself." Although she said that, the Moon Empress had already guessed his choice. At this stage, what he should really do was to increase his strength. As such, the Moon Empress did not advocate for Lin Yuan to show off too much. Otherwise, when Lin Yuan had used the Radiant Moon Palace as a pretense to obtain the Golden Lotus brocade, the Radiant Moon Palace would not have been able to do so. The Moon Empress would not help Lin Yuan agree to it. The Moon Empress knew how capable her disciple was. Even if he broke through as a creation master, the pure spirit qi that Lin Yuan had given him would not be able to help him. But he still couldn't concoct it. Therefore, the Moon Empress' expectations for Lin Yuan were no longer limited to the Radiance Envoy. At that moment, the Moon Empress sensed Lin Yuan's aura coming from outside the palace. The Moon Empress interrupted Night-leaning Moon's words and spoke softly. "My disciple has arrived. Wait for me here, I'll bring my disciple in first." The Moon Empress' words stunned Night-leaning Moon. Night-leaning Moon had never thought that the Moon Empress would take the initiative to welcome someone at the door. However, Night-leaning Moon didn't know that this was not the first time the Moon Empress had done so. Lin Yuan, who had just arrived at the Radiant Moon Palace's entrance, was talking to Mystic Moon. "Uncle Mystic, the 3 heaven-blessed dojo's hall lords will be visiting Master in a while. I plan to take the Mother of Bloodbath out for a trip. I'll come back later." Mystic Moon didn't dare to reply. If he said yes, His Highness would leave. What if the Moon Empress looked for His Highness after the discussion? If His Highness wasn't around, wouldn't he be the scapegoat? However, Mystic Moon knew that Lin Yuan would go out with the Mother of Bloodbath at this juncture. There must be something important. Just as Mystic Moon was thinking about how to answer, he felt the Moon Empress aura. Mystic Moon heaved a sigh of relief and thought to himself, "His Highness, you should talk to the Moon Empress yourself." The Moon Empress had obviously heard Lin Yuan's words. When she got close, she whispered to Lin Yuan, "Go. No matter what time you come back tonight, Master will be waiting for you to have dinner together." For some reason, it hadn't been a long time since they last met. The Moon Empress, who had just come out of seclusion, wanted to see Lin Yuan the most. The Moon Empress wasn't good at expressing her feelings. Now that she saw him, she didn't have much to say. However, as long as she saw Lin Yuan, she would feel a sense of peace for no reason. When he arrived at the inner palace, Lin Yuan immediately saw Night-leaning Moon, who was drinking tea at the tea table. Lin Yuan gave Night-leaning Moon a junior's salute. Then he took out the feather fan that Bai Feng had given him and handed it to his master, the Moon Empress. Lin Yuan was a junior, so he directly gave it to Night-leaning Moon. Night-leaning Moon might really bow to thank him. However, Lin Yuan couldn't accept Night-leaning Moon's salute openly. Therefore it was most suitable to give this feather fan to the Moon Empress. When the time came, it would be up to her to decide whether to give it to Night-Leaning Moon. The moment Lin Yuan took out the feather fan, Night-Leaning Moon felt the dense power of night on it. Night-Leaning Moon's heart began to beat violently. As he stared at the black feather fan in the Moon Empress' hand, the corners of his mouth twitched. Night-Leaning Moon immediately recognized that this was the feather of the heaven-blessed abode's hall mistress, Bai Feng. It was also because he didn't succeed when he asked for it previously. He also had to take into consideration the Radiance Federation's Night Empress identity and could not snatch it. The Moon Empress was also stunned when Lin Yuan took out the black feather fan. Then a bright smile appeared on her face. Then he walked towards Night-Leaning Moon and said, "Qingyue, you saw it too. Little Yuan gave this to me. Take it. There's still some time before the Radiance 100 sequence selection. Let me give you some pure spirit qi. You must be in the 100 sequence. I will definitely be able to complete the breakthrough." Upon hearing that, Night-Leaning Moon took the black feather fan from the Moon Empress. She walked to Lin Yuan's side and gently said, "Thank you." Then he disappeared from the Radiant Moon Palace. Then, a wisp of darkness entered the land of spiritual suppression. Night-Leaning Moon immediately went into seclusion in the land of spirit suppression. When Lin Yuan heard Night-Leaning Moon thank him, he reached out and scratched the back of his head. Fortunately, Night-Leaning Moon left quickly. Otherwise Lin Yuan couldn't possibly reply, "You're welcome." The Moon Empress understood Night-Leaning Moon the best. Therefore she knew how heavy the meaning behind Night-Leaning Moon's soft "thank you" was. At that moment Blue Lotus, Bai Feng and Shueshua brought the Mother of Bloodbath. They were already standing respectfully at the entrance of the Radiant Moon Palace. They were smelling the fragrance of the silver stamen gold luster cassia. Chapter 1553. Lan Lian, Bai Feng and Shueshua exchanged glances. They all discovered the extraordinariness of the silver auspicious gold luster cassia. They were clearly just two fantasy breed plant phase. However, there were clear signs of consciousness manifesting. Especially when he saw Lan Lian. The two silver auspicious gold luster cassias swayed their silver stamen golden flowers, sending more fragrance to the Blue Lotus and Mother of Bloodbath's nostrils. It was obvious that the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias treated the Blue Lotus and the Mother of Bloodbath more warmly. However, the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias treated Bai Feng and Shueshua just as well. Otherwise, it would be a plant fae that was about to become a myth breed. The two silver auspicious gold luster cassias could store the fragrance within their flower buds. He couldn't let Shueshua and Lan Lian smell it. Bai Feng raised her brows when she noticed this and asked Lan Lian in astonishment. Blue Lotus, these two osmanthus trees are interesting." It manifested its consciousness when it was a fantasy breed. Lan Lian saw the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias. His gaze was fixed on the two silver auspicious gold luster cassias. He used his hand to lightly touch the trunk of one of the silver auspicious gold luster cassia. Feeling the closeness of the Inrue Jinzigue to him, he conducted the spiritual energy to the place he touched. It seemed to be greeting him. This discovery made Blue Lotus think to herself. It seemed like he had underestimated the intelligence of the silver stamen gold luster cassia. The silver auspicious gold luster cassia would treat him and Shueqing well, giving them more of the fragrance of the flower. He only gave a small portion to Shueshua and Bai Feng. To a large extent, it was because the silver auspicious gold luster cassia had discovered the true nature of the four of them. Plants need light and heat to grow. The celestial jade spider inside the jade gui had already been separated. Shueshua controlled the heat. The part of light that is controlled by blood emotion. The white phoenix was the dark night. The dark night would take away the light. Heat will take away moisture. That was why Inrue and Jinzigue treated him differently. Lan Lian asked softly after hearing Bai Feng's words. "Bai Feng, what level were you at when you awakened your favored spirit bloodline?" Bai Feng was stunned for a moment before replying. "Ever since I was born, I've always been the chosen one. Don't you know that? Why are you asking about it?" Lan Lian rolled her eyes at Bai Feng when she heard this. "So, you're a heaven's favored spirit, but you don't even have the common sense of a heaven's favored spirit? When I had my memories, I wasn't a chosen spirit yet. I only awakened the blessed spirit bloodline when I became a myth breed." Then, Sister Yugue and Sister Ziqing found him and brought him back to the blessed heaven mansion. "These two osmanthus trees are very similar to what happened to me back then. I'm only a fantasy breed, but I can already faintly activate the power of the four seas. But these two osmanthus trees have yet to display the ability to trigger a celestial phenomenon. But that's hard to say. Some of the favored spirits are advancing to the bell of Genesis. He just awakened the favored spirit bloodline. Young Deer and Yin are both in the same situation. Bai Feng pursed her lips when she heard Lan Lian's words. Lan Lian, why do you keep mentioning the fact that you're the Xiantian heaven's favored spirit? Among all the heaven's blessed dojos heaven's blessed spirits, there were a total of 9 heaven's blessed spirits. He was the weakest among them. Every time Lan Lian mentioned it, Bai Feng felt that Lan Lian wasn't praising her talent. Instead he was belittling himself. This was because if they were to really fight, Bai Feng would definitely be able to defeat Lan Lian, who could mobilize the power of the four seas. Blue Lotus abilities lay in support, defense, and healing. However, Bai Feng's abilities lay in large-scale attacks. He lacked single-target attacks, and the only single-target attacks he had weren't top-notch. It just so happened to be countered by Blue Lotus. At the same time, Bai Feng was also very shocked by Lan Lian's words. He did not expect Blue Lotus to think so highly of these 2 silver auspicious gold luster kasha. His words even indicated that these 2 silver auspicious gold luster kashas could possibly become spirit favored by the heavens. If these 2 silver stamen gold luster kashas really transformed into spirits of heaven's favor, then, the Moon Empress had the holy weeping moon beast. Doesn't that mean I have 3 heavenly chosen spirits? These 2 silver auspicious gold luster kashas had always been planted in front of the Moon Empress Radiant Moon Palace. Although he was not contracted by the Moon Empress, he had been nurtured by her. It could be considered the Moon Empress Fey item. It wasn't just the Moon Empress. After the 2 silver auspicious gold luster kashas became favored spirits, the Moon Empress felt a chill run down her spine. He would not give the silver auspicious gold luster kasha to the Heaven's Favor Mansion. Furthermore, the Heaven's Favor Mansion did not have the face to ask the Moon Empress for it. At that moment, the Moon Empress arrived at the main hall and sat on the main seat. Mystic Moon went to the door and was about to invite Lan Lian, Bai Feng, and Xue Shua in. Lin Yuan followed beside Mystic Moon and saw the Mother of Bloodbath following behind Xue Shua. He gave the Mother of Bloodbath a look. The Mother of Bloodbath hurriedly understood and said to Xue Shua, "Daddy, I'm going to do something with Lin Yuan first. I'll wait for you at the lava land at night." As it spoke, the Mother of Bloodbath clenched its fist. It resisted the throbbing in its heart. Whether it could resurrect its mother or not, it would depend on the Remembrance Soul Whale's performance at the lava land. Ever since Xue Shua met the Mother of Bloodbath, he had been very careful. Ever since Xue Shua met the Mother of Bloodbath, he had been very careful. He didn't know how to express his fatherly love. On the other hand, he was afraid that if he showed too much, the Mother of Bloodbath would not be able to accept it. On the other hand, he was afraid that if he showed too much, the Mother of Bloodbath would not be able to accept it. It would be very annoying. No matter how long Xue Shua had lived, he was just a new father. He had to experience the feelings and responsibilities of being a father. The Mother of Bloodbath had never been by Xue Shua's side since it was born. Therefore, even if Xue Shua did not show it on the surface, he was actually far more flustered than a newbie nanny. Xue Shua had never seen the Mother of Bloodbath and only knew that he had a child. He wanted to bring the Mother of Bloodbath to the lava land to have a look. That was the place where Yu Gui was buried. If possible, Xue Shua would rather not go anywhere. He would find a cave in the lava land to live in and often accompany Yu Gui. Of course, this was what Xue Shua had thought before he found the Mother of Bloodbath. Now that he had found his daughter, Xue Shua's original thoughts had changed. Xue Shua planned to live with the Mother of Bloodbath. At the same time, he would protect his daughter's savior. However, with the contact just now, Xue Shua was keenly aware that the Mother of Bloodbath treated Lin Yuan differently. This meant that the Mother of Bloodbath definitely had feelings for Lin Yuan that it did not have for anyone else. This was not the feeling an ordinary path protector had for the person it protected. It was not just gratitude either. The Mother of Bloodbath did not say it clearly. However, Xue Shua was keenly aware of the Mother of Bloodbath's feelings when it looked at Lin Yuan. It was very similar to the way he had looked at Yu Gui back then. Spider species Fays were the hardest to fall in love with, but after falling in love they would fall in love the most. This was already the case for Spider Fays, let alone a spider's favored spirit. Xue Shua could confirm that his daughter had already fallen in love with Lin Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 1554. Even his own daughter had expressed her feelings to him. But this feeling was already very deep. As a father, he had the right to question his daughter's feelings. However, Shueishua had just found the mother of Bloodbath and reunited with his daughter. He didn't think he had the right to ask. Looking at his appearance, it was obvious that he did not know the mother of Bloodbath's feelings. Shueishua, who was the father of a newbie, was in a dilemma. For a moment he did not know what to do. In this aspect, there was no one in the entire blessed dojo who could be Shueishua's teacher. Shueishua didn't even have anyone to ask. Although Bai Feng was experienced, she was able to speak logically when it came to matters of the heart. However, Shueishua was not willing to get parenting experience from an experienced bachelor. Helpless, Shueishua could only smile sourly in his heart. I said to the mother of Bloodbath, "Little Qing, after visiting you, I'll wait for you at the lava field." The mother of Bloodbath was shocked. He and Lin Yuan were going to the lava field now. He wanted to see if he could use the soul thought whale to collect his mother's soul. However, when he thought about how his father, Shueishua, would probably be staying in the Radiant Moon Palace for quite a long time, he felt a chill run down his spine. It was enough for him and Lin Yuan to investigate the situation. At that time he would be able to be confident and not have to worry. If the spirit thought whale was able to find his mother's soul in the lava, at that time he could tell his father the good news. If the soul remembrance whale couldn't do it, then the mother of Blood Moon might as well not mention anything. That way his father wouldn't be hurt again. Xian Yu brought Shueishua, Lan Lian, and Bai Feng into the Radiant Moon Palace. Lin Yuan waved his hand and summoned the Slaughter Sky Butterfly. The royal capital was in the central region of the Radiance Empire, while the Lava Land was in the southernmost region. It was next to Bronze Furnace City and Burning Flame City, two large cities in the south. If he let Blackie hurry, it would take at least a few days to reach the lava field from the royal capital. However, if he used the Heaven Slaughtering Butterfly, he would be able to arrive in slightly more than an hour. Riding on the back of the Sky Killer Butterfly they headed south. Seeing the mother of Bloodbath's anxious and hopeful expression, Lin Yuan thought for a long time. But he really did not know how to comfort her. He could only pat the mother of Bloodbath's shoulder. If it were his parents, they would also have such an opportunity. Lin Yuan would probably be even more agitated and anxious than the mother of Bloodbath. It was the same feeling as when a family member entered the operating theater and waited for the result. Unfortunately, his parents had already perished in the insect tide. Even if Lin Yuan used Morbius to spirit lock on the soul thought whale, it was still impossible to revive his parents. At that moment, Shueishua saw the Moon Empress sitting on the main seat. He bowed and said very sincerely, "The Moon Empress had previously helped my beloved wife, and now she is helping my daughter. Moon Empress, please accept my bow." The Heaven-Blessed Dojo and the Radiance Federation were both one of the largest factions in the world. The Dojo Lord of the Blessed Heavens Dojo and Radiance's holiness should be on equal footing. If it was said that Shueishua was only bowing to the Moon Empress to express his gratitude, it was the principle of gratitude. But now he was calling the Moon Empress. This meant that Shueishua did not regard himself as the master of the Heaven-Blessed Dojo. Instead, he became Lin Yuan's guardian. Mystic Moon had already informed the Moon Empress about Shueishua becoming Lin Yuan's guardian. Shueishua's actions made the Moon Empress' eyes flicker. In the end, the Moon Empress said honestly, "When I saved you Gui back then, I was indeed helping. However, this Empress had selfish motives in helping your daughter." The Moon Empress' words were very frank and did not hide anything. However, the Moon Empress' words immediately gained the favor of Blue Lotus, White Phoenix, and Shueishua. The Heaven-Blessed Spirit's true temperament was not fake. However, true temperament and acting on impulse were two completely different concepts from foolishness. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? The Moon Empress had coincidentally saved Shueishua and Yu Gui's daughter. She had even made Shueishua and Yu Gui's daughter her disciple's path protector. Regarding all of this, White Phoenix, Shueishua, and Blue Lotus already had a plan. They just did not say it out loud. However, even if they had a plan, their gratitude toward Lin Yuan and the Moon Empress did not diminish. Otherwise, Shueishua would not have sworn an oath with the celestial phenomenon to become Lin Yuan's path protector. He would not have bowed to thank the Moon Empress and addressed her as Lord. However, the Moon Empress had said it out loud. The last trace of hesitation in the trio's hearts had dissipated. Now, apart from gratitude, they could not help but truly admire the Moon Empress. This was because only a person who truly had a big picture could say such magnanimous words. There was no one who did not like to make friends with magnanimous people. Facing the Moon Empress' frankness, White Phoenix immediately said, "Moon Empress, on the way to Radiance, we destroyed many of the Pagoda Canon's strongholds. I believe the Moon Empress is very clear about the grudge between our Heaven-Blessed Dojo and the Pagoda Canon. The Moon Empress was non-committal. The Pagoda Canon's 5 pages of truth had taken advantage of Yu Gui's weakened state to kill her. The Heaven-blessed dojo and the Pagoda Canon had already formed a death grudge. The Heaven-blessed dojo's dojo lord, Ziqing, had single-handedly fought his way into the Pagoda Canon's headquarters. He had killed a page of destiny. However, Ziqing had also suffered severe injuries. When the Moon Empress first heard this news, she did not think of the grudge between the Heaven-blessed dojo and the Pagoda Canon. Instead, she was certain of one thing. There was definitely a huge problem with the 8 pages of the Pagoda Canon. However, the Moon Empress had yet to figure out the secret of the 8 pages. Even 8-page himself didn't know what was going on. While Bai Feng was speaking, she had been observing the Moon Empress expression. Seeing that there was no change in the Moon Empress expression, Bai Feng muttered to herself for a moment. She continued. Moon Empress, we have received information from these strongholds. 2 of the 8 pages of the Pagoda Canon will come to radiance, but we don't know which 2 pages they are. Bai Feng was saying all this to express goodwill to the Moon Empress. Every time the 8 pages of the Pagoda Canon took action, there must be a clear goal. Unexpectedly, after hearing this news, the Moon Empress' expression was still calm. She only said one sentence. If the people from the Pagoda Canon really come to radiance, no matter which 2 pages come, since they are here, don't leave. The Moon Empress' words shocked Bai Feng, Lan Lian and Xue Shira. How much courage did the Moon Empress have to be able to say such words? It seemed that Holy Sob was not the only one whose strength had reached above the eternal realm. The Moon Empress' strength must have also broken through. Only powerful strength could support such confidence. Presumably, in another 7 or 8 days, it would be time for the Radiance 100 sequence to truly begin. Radiance's royal capital was about to become lively. The Slaughter Sky Butterfly had already flown to the land of lava. Lin Yuan found that the concentration of fire elements in this land of lava was not much weaker than the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift. It was even comparable to the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift. The concentration of fire elements here was purer. At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath suddenly knelt on the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's back. Its body trembled violently. Chapter 1555. The Mother of Bloodbath felt the bloodline in its body throb for no reason. The fire element in the lava field was so dense that it filled the air. These fire elements made the Mother of Bloodbath feel very warm. It was completely different from what he knew of the fire element. These fire elements clustered around the Mother of Bloodbath. It gave the Mother of Bloodbath the same feeling it had when it first met Xue Shira. It was like a gentle embrace. The Mother of Bloodbath knew that these fire elements were due to its bloodline. It was responding instinctively. The Mother of Bloodbath was not a sentimental person. The only time she shed tears were because of Lin Yuan. When the Mother of Bloodbath saw its father, Xue Shua, it held back. Don't let the tears come out. But now, he could feel the sensation brought by the fire element. The Mother of Bloodbath cried uncontrollably. When Lin Yuan saw the Mother of Bloodbath, his body trembled as he knelt on the Slaughter Sky Butterfly's back. Big drops of tears poured down from the Mother of Bloodbath's eyes. Lin Yuan was not in a hurry to let the Slaughter Sky Butterfly land. Instead, he squatted down. He used his fingertips to wipe away the tears on the Mother of Bloodbath's face. He had roughly guessed that the Mother of Bloodbath had been affected by the lava's fire element. Back then, the celestial jade spider's body had turned into a land of lava. The fire elements did not disperse and continued to gather in the lava field. This meant that there had to be something special about the fire elements that the corona jade spiders had transformed into. It was because of the uniqueness of the lava. He felt that using the soul thought whale to collect the sky corona jade spider's soul had a high chance of success. Now, the fire elements in the lava land were gathering in the Mother of Bloodbath's direction. The Mother of Bloodbath must have gotten it from these fire elementals. Through the bloodline, the longing in the bloodline's memories was evoked. The Mother of Bloodbath looked up. The Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's concerned expression. At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath could no longer hold it in. She reached out and hugged Lin Yuan. He simply patted the Mother of Bloodbath's back and comforted it. He allowed the Mother of Bloodbath's tears to flow onto his shoulder. Seeing this, the Sky Killer Butterfly thought to itself. The Mother of Bloodbath had always been hiding its feelings for Lin Yuan. But now, when he sensed his mother's presence, his defense was broken. He made such an intimate gesture. However, looking at Lin Yuan's expression, Lin Yuan's eyes were filled with hope. He did not seem to understand the Mother of Bloodbath's feelings. He was simply comforting the Mother of Bloodbath. As for the fact that her father-in-law was a straight man, she didn't know what to say. The killer sky butterfly expressed that it did not matter. Anyway, it was fine as long as it wasn't his purple cloud. Although the Nirvana butterfly was with Zishao day and night, it was still with her. But that Nirvana butterfly was also a male butterfly. That was why the slaughterer butterfly was so relaxed. Otherwise, the one frowning right now would probably be the slaughtering sky butterfly. Because unrequited love was better than her boyfriend cheating on her. After a long while, the mother of Bloodbath let go of Lin Yuan's embrace and said softly, "Lin Yuan, let's go down and take a look." As it spoke, the mother of Bloodbath's face turned suspiciously red. After the killer butterfly landed on the ground, he stored the butchering sky butterfly into the spirit lock spatial zone. With a wave of his hand, he summoned the soul whale. The psychic whale's current strength was at bronze X/legend. Before Lin Yuan comprehended the willpower rune related to the soul, the current grade was already the soul thought whale's limit. Lin Yuan immediately issued a command to the soul thought whale. "Soul thought whale, use soul knot. Search for the aura of the souls here." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's command, the soul thought whale let out a clear cry. It immediately began to collect the souls here. As a result, after the search, the soul thought whale collected the souls of various fays such as the sharp-eared firefox, fireplains wolf, rattlesnake flame python, and so on. Apart from that, the souls of these fays, there were also some adventurers' souls mixed in. Obviously, some adventurers had died here. There were a large number of insect species phase souls and even plant species phase souls. There were countless of them. The lava land was a complete ecological environment. At every moment, there were phase fighting and preying on each other. This was the law of evolution of nature. Although the souls of those weaker life forms would quickly dissipate after they died, too many life forms had died. But within these few days, too many life forms had died. When the soul thought whale used soul knot, it needed soul fragments to filter them one by one. The sky cobra jade spider had been buried in the lava land for too long. Even if there was soul energy, it would be very weak. Lin Yuan wanted to use this method to search for the sky cobra jade spider's soul. The possibility was close to zero. Even if Lin Yuan stayed here 24 hours a day with the soul thought whale to filter the souls. If he was unlucky, he might not be able to find the sky cobra jade spider's soul even after a few decades. No matter how strong Lin Yuan was, he could not stop the phase from growing old and dying. Lin Yuan said to the mother of Bloodbath, who had a hopeful look in its eyes, "We are at the edge of Bronze Furnace City. The deeper we go into the lava land, the denser the fire element. The possibility of collecting the souls is also higher. We will head all the way to the lava land central area. Let the soul thought whale screen the soul energy along the way." The mother of Bloodbath nodded in response. After pondering for a moment, it said, "Lin Yuan, when we get to the lava land, we'll screen until dinner tonight. If we can't find anything, wait until the Radiance 100 sequence ends. Come and accompany me for another day of screening. If we still can't find anything in one day, perhaps Mother's soul will really disappear." The mother of Bloodbath knew that Lin Yuan's time was very precious. It was already certain that Lin Yuan could become a Radiance envoy. 2 years later, the Radiance and the Freedom Federation would have a shocking gamble. These 2 years were the 2 years that Lin Yuan needed to urgently increase his strength. Therefore, the mother of Bloodbath did not want to waste too much of Lin Yuan's time because of itself. Moreover, the mother of Bloodbath was very clear. When they reached the central area, the place with the densest fire element, if they still could not find its mother's soul there, it would almost mean that its mother's soul had already disappeared. They had only walked for a few kilometers? The density of the fire element had increased so much. At the central area, only extremely powerful life forms could survive. Therefore, there would definitely not be many souls in the central area. It should not be too difficult to search for them. As they walked, Lin Yuan realized that the soul thought whale was gradually extracting more and more spirit chi professional souls. Spirit chi professional souls were the easiest to dissipate. Being able to extract souls meant that these spirit chi professionals had only been dead for a few days. This made Lin Yuan feel that something was wrong. Chapter 1556. Why were there so many spirit chi professionals dying in the lava field? Soon, as the soul remembrance whale searched the souls, Lin Yuan felt that he should know the reason. The soul remembrance whale found an abyss demon's soul. Moreover, there was a large number of abyss demon souls in this area. Lin Yuan could not find the souls of other life forms. There should be an adventurer team that had just left Bronze Furnace City for an adventure, or on the way back. they encountered an abyss-dimensional rift. A large number of spirit chi professionals died at the hands of the demons. Soon Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath walked to the inner circle of the lava. Here Lin Yuan found that most of the fire-type Fays had mutated. Their bloodlines had been purified. Among them, the fire-type Spider Fays had the most obvious change. Lin Yuan even saw a Diamond X/Fantasy V fire-type Spider Fay. This was the first time Lin Yuan saw a willpower rune successfully comprehended in the wild. It was a fantasy breed Fay that was about to break through to myth breed. Such a Fay was already a 1 in a million talent in the Fay world. He used Morbius True Data to check on this fire attribute Arachne Fay. At a glance, Lin Yuan realized that this fire-type Arachne Fay was called the Ghost Firethorn Spider. The Ghost Firethorn Spider was a Fay that focused on elemental and physical attacks. It was good at assassination. Even though the Ghost Firethorn Spider was a Diamond/Fantasy breed, it was still the size of a bottle cap. When it concealed itself, it was definitely a natural killer. From the moment this Ghost Firethorn Spider saw the Mother of Bloodbath, it showed an unusual closeness to the Mother of Bloodbath. It was a Diamond/Fantasy breed Arachne Fay that had developed intelligence. However, its intelligence was obviously not high. The reason it was so close to the Mother of Bloodbath was because it had been absorbing the fire-type energy here. It had the same origin as the Mother of Bloodbath. From the moment the Mother of Bloodbath became a favored spirit, it had been carefully nurturing the Blood Brew grapevine. Even the 6-star sacred source life form, the Scarlet Tentacle Algae's body. There were some parts that could not be forged into artifacts. The Mother of Bloodbath fed them to the Blood Brew grapevine. The Mother of Bloodbath used the Blood Law rune to guide it day and night. The Blood Brew grapevine had comprehended a willpower rune that was related to blood. He could be considered the Mother of Bloodbath's #1 disciple. The Mother of Bloodbath looked at the Will-O-Wisp spider for a long time. He held the Will-O-Wisp spider in his palm and said, "Your life level has evolved here. I'll also give you an opportunity. If you're willing, you'll follow me from today onwards. Let me guide you as you grow." The Ghost Firethorn Spider heard the Mother of Bloodbath's words. He quickly hid in the Mother of Bloodbath's hair. The Mother of Bloodbath did not say anything about accepting disciples. But this Diamond X/Fantasy V Willow-Wisp Thorn Spider was only a Diamond X/Fantasy V Willow-Wisp. He had obviously become the Mother of Bloodbath's second disciple. The fact that this Will-O-Wisp spider could follow the Mother of Bloodbath could definitely be considered a great opportunity. From then on, the spider's life underwent a transformation. Just as he was about to step into the central area, Lin Yuan realized that the number of souls that the Soul Remembrance Whale had found had not changed. However, among the souls that he had found, there were no living beings that were too weak. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw a spirit chi professional with multiple injuries on his body. He was holding a 3-meter-tall ape species Fey and walking over from afar. That expert immediately shouted when he saw Lin Yuan and the Mother of Bloodbath. "There's an abnormal gathering of beasts ahead. It seems like some fire-type treasure is about to appear. Hurry up and run." Those Fays dug out treasures and were seen by those Fays that did not get a share. They might be used to vent their anger. The middle-aged man walking over from afar was a king-class expert. The ape species Fey beside him was a Diamond 4/Fantasy 2 Fey. It was called the Flame-Patterned Battle Ape. The Land of Lava had always been a place for spirit chi professionals who had contracted fire-type Fays. It was a treasure land for treasures and strength enhancement. Most fire-type Fays had very bad tempers. It was very normal for them to attack when they saw someone. The Land of Lava wasn't too big and fire-type Fays grew stronger very quickly in this place. Therefore, every powerful fire attribute Fey was extremely powerful. None of them were able to find land that corresponded to their strength. As such, Fays valued territories very much. Any living being that stepped into the territory would be treated as an intruder and would be attacked. This king-class expert kindly warned himself and the Mother of Bloodbath. He was obviously a kind-hearted person. With a wave of his hand, a green ray of light connected to the middle-aged man and the flame-patterned battle ape. The middle-aged man and the flame-striped war ape's injuries were immediately healed. The middle-aged man was immediately aware of Lin Yuan's move. The other party wasn't like him. He truly had strength. They were qualified to enter the center of the lava field. From then on, the middle-aged man no longer warned him. Instead, he recalled what he had just seen and said, "There's at least one myth-breed Fey in human form inside. The treasure it's guarding seems to be a fiery red rock. That stone looks like a spider's leg from a distance. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken. When Lin Yuan heard the middle-aged man's words, his eyes lit up. I said to the mother of bloodbath, "Come, let's go to the central area to take a look." Before the lava field was formed, it was a forest. It's impossible to have a fire-type treasure. Thus, all fire attribute treasures must be related to the body of the fallen celestial corona jade spider. If that red rock really is a body, then the soul of the magnolia jade spider must be within it. It doesn't matter how many souls there are, as long as I can absorb a bit. The remembrance soul whale can use its exclusive skill, soul igniting rebirth, to consume spiritual ingredients filled with soul force and guide the pure energy within them into the soul. Use soul energy to mend the broken soul as much as possible so that the broken soul is complete. The mother of bloodbath was so excited that it did not know what to do. The mother of bloodbath, which had been a little discouraged, now had infinite hope in its heart. The mother of bloodbath and Lin Yuan immediately rushed toward the central area. At that moment, the mother of bloodbath revealed its loftiness as a heavenly spirit. The moment the mother of bloodbath activated the sky corona jade spider's bloodline, a corona appeared above the mother of bloodbath's head. The flames extended the mother of bloodbath's skirt infinitely. The sunlight gathered toward the mother of bloodbath. The mother of bloodbath was like a sun goddess. At that moment, the mother of bloodbath had the intention to kill. If those fire attribute phase entrenched in the core area, if they had to fight for those rocks that might be formed from its mother's spider legs, the mother of bloodbath would not be polite. The moment the mother of bloodbath activated the sky corona jade spider's bloodline, all the fire elements in the lava field began to seethe. Then, the fire elemental energy began to condense continuously. The rich fire elemental energy slowly condensed into a woman's phantom. This woman's phantom looked a little blurry. But no matter how one looked at it, it was 70% to 80% similar to the mother of bloodbath. She also wore a sun crown on her head. After the fire elemental energy condensed into the woman's phantom, wind finally blew into the lava field where the fire elemental energy was entrenched. The wind blew the clouds and the rain of yearning finally fell after so many years. At that moment, the cool breeze turned into rain and yearning filled the ground. Chapter 1557. A cool breeze accompanied the drizzle. It landed on Lin Yuan and the mother of bloodbath. It also landed on the woman's phantom formed by the fire elements of the lava field. Although this woman's phantom looked 70% to 80% similar to the mother of bloodbath, but it was still formed by the fire elements. When the drizzle landed on this phantom, it turned into mist. The mist was quickly evaporated by the fire elements. The high temperature caused the space around the woman to slightly distort. The woman's phantom stood motionless in front of the mother of bloodbath. Lin Yuan thought of a legend. The Moon Empress had once told him this legend. It was said that when a fae was strong to a certain extent, even if it died, the energy in its body would still persist. It was its last wish. At this moment, the woman's phantom stretched out her hand and gently hugged the mother of bloodbath. It was probably the last thought of the celestial jade spider. It was the mother of bloodbath's newborn daughter. The mother of bloodbath, who was being hugged by the fire elemental phantom, deeply experienced the feeling of a mother. This feeling was not as deep as the feeling Shuai gave the mother of bloodbath, but it was more exquisite. The formation of the woman's phantom squeezed out all the fire elements in the entire lava field. It was equivalent to directly changing the environment of the lava field. The eyes of all the creatures in the lava field gathered in the direction of the woman's phantom. The changes in the lava field immediately attracted the attention of Bronze Furnace City. The lava field used to be a forest. Because of the death of the celestial jade spider, it became a land filled with fire elements and frequently opened abyss-dimensional rifts. It could be said that the lava field changed the entire industrial layout of Bronze Furnace City. Every year, a large number of contractors who contracted fire-type phase came to settle in Bronze Furnace City. It could be said that the lava field had changed. It had a great impact on the entire Bronze Furnace City. Of course, the mother of bloodbath did not know about this. There were already a large number of fire-type fays in the central area rushing over here. Any fae with some intelligence would know this. There must have been a change here. It was very likely that they would obtain an opportunity. Fays with higher intelligence could sense the mother of bloodbath's identity as a favored spirit. On the other hand, those fays with lower intelligence no longer cared about the consequences. They rushed directly toward the mother of bloodbath. He disturbed the mother of bloodbath from feeling the warmth of a mother's love. Before the mother of bloodbath could make a move, Lin Yuan had already launched an attack. There were no outsiders here, so he did not hold back at all. He directly displayed Xiao Hei's exclusive skill, Spiritual Essence Explosion. Pure spiritual energy gathered in his left fist. Black wings spread out behind Lin Yuan. The acceleration brought by the wings made his figure so fast that it was blurry. In addition, he had superb combat skills and movement techniques. In just a moment, Lin Yuan had returned to his original spot. As for those Feis that rushed over, Lin Yuan ruthlessly punched each of them in the head. They all fell to the ground. Lin Yuan's method shocked many of the Feis that were preparing to attack. It had also stimulated the ferocious nature of many Feis. These Feis immediately swarmed over. Just as Lin Yuan was about to make another move, the Ghostfire Thorn Spider, which had just been accepted as a disciple by the Mother of Bloodbath, scuttled out of its hair. The body of the Will-O-Wisp Spider was covered in a layer of demonic red and blue flames. The two-colored flames encircled the spider's body. It formed a sinister and terrifying ghost face. The palm-sized Will-O-Wisp Spider was like a bullet. It penetrated all the Feis that attacked. The Feis that were penetrated by the Will-O-Wisp Spider quickly burned with red and blue flames. The red and blue flames directly burned these Feis into shells. The burning of the Feis' bodies caused the red and blue flames to burn even more vigorously. Finally, the red and blue flames were completely absorbed by the Will-O-Wisp Spider. The ghost face formed by the flames on the Will-O-Wisp Spider's body. It spat out a thick purple flame tongue. It directly crashed into a Diamond 6/Fantasy 4 Grand Fire Terror Lion. In Lin Yuan's opinion, this thick purple flame tongue had already reached the limit of a Diamond/Fantasy breed Fey. As long as it was a little stronger, it could reach the standard of a myth breed Fey. The Grand Fire Terror Lion was unable to resist such an attack. Soon, the Grand Fire Terror Lion was roasted into charcoal by the purple-red flame tongue. Then a large amount of red and blue flames gushed out of the Grand Fire Terror Lion's body. They were absorbed into the Will-O-Wisp Spider's body. Seeing this scene, Lin Yuan could not help but admire the Will-O-Wisp Spider's talent. The Will-O-Wisp Spider's exclusive skill was Plunder Burning Flame. Plunder Burning Flame. When the target is stained with the Plunder Burning Flame, as long as the target's energy level is lower than the Plunder Burning Flame's energy level, it will be converted into the Plunder Burning Flame's energy. Under normal circumstances, the petite Will-O-Wisp Spider that existed as an assassin would have a lower energy level. The energy level in its body would be lower than most Feis of the same grade. Fortunately, the Land of Lava's mutation had saved this Will-O-Wisp Spider's talent. But even after the mutation, the Will-O-Wisp Spider was still inferior to Lu Shuang's main Fei, the exquisite Dragon Lizard. Even the walking wizard snake that Lu Shuang had carefully nurtured had reached Diamond X/Fantasy V. The Will-O-Wisp Spider might not be comparable. However, the Will-O-Wisp Spider was smart enough to launch a sneak attack. While it was sneak attacking those Feis that were weaker than it, it also dealt a blow to those Feis that Lin Yuan had defeated. Through the exclusive skill, Plunder Burning Flame, the Will-O-Wisp Spider constantly increased the intensity of its red and blue flames. Finally, it used the ability to stack the red and blue flames into poison fire. They fused together and gave birth to the fire poison energy. With just one attack, it instantly killed the Grand Fire Terror Lion that was not much weaker than the Will-O-Wisp Spider. The Will-O-Wisp Spider used this combat method. It could be seen as a special combat type Fey. The longer it stayed on the battlefield, the more targets it killed. The more powerful it was, the stronger it would be. Of course, there was a limit to this enhancement. That was the limit that the Will-O-Wisp Spider's body could withstand. Apart from that, the Will-O-Wisp Spider had an exclusive skill, Fire Spirit Essence. Fire Spirit Essence. Consume the body's dual-colored flames to separate a special insect protein. Through the insect protein, the Fey can quickly recover its energy, stamina, and stimulate the soul to fight. This exclusive skill might be pitifully weak on its own. It was an exclusive skill that reduced the Fey's attack method and recovered stamina. However, when paired with another exclusive skill, Plunder Burning Flame, it had a miraculous effect. The Will-O-Wisp Spider's exclusive skill and ability combination. It was no wonder the Mother of Bloodbath had set its eyes on it. The Will-O-Wisp Spider could constantly hunt down Feis that were weaker than it to strengthen itself. However, a myth breed Fey had already run out of the Land of Lava's inner circle. Chapter 1558. Even if this Fey had just evolved from a Fantasy V to a myth breed, after the world cleansing its life level had increased. It was difficult to use talent to make up for it. Moreover, most of the fire-type fays in the lava land had bloodlines that had been enhanced. Their talents were extremely powerful. Therefore, the will-o-wisp spider and the myth-eye lava terror claw bear fought. The red and blue flames made the lava terror claw bear howl. The golden-red fur of the lava terror claw bear had a fever. However, it could not injure the lava terror claw bear at its core. At that moment, the lava terror claw bear opened its huge mouth and let out a roar. It wanted to mobilize the fire elements in the air, but the lava terror claw bear discovered that the fire-type energy in the lava land had been squeezed dry by the woman with the crown on her head. The lava terror claw bear could only mobilize its own fire-type energy. It prepared to unleash a bear king claw strike. The lava terror claw bear waved its claws agilely and tore through space. The power of space was mixed with the violent power of fire. If it hit the will-o-wisp spider, which had weak defense, it would be able to cut open its stomach. Just when the lava terror claw bear thought that it was about to kill the will-o-wisp spider, a majestic shout rang out. Then the mother of bloodbath's hand shook. A chain made of light directly bound the lava dread claw bear tightly. The lava terror claw bear instantly lost control of its body. The flow of blood in his body had already firmly controlled his body. Then the lava terror claw bear was horrified to discover 3 huge hornless dragons with bright red horns and blood-like scales. They snaked out from the woman's dress that seemed to be made of light. Each of them was nearly 100 meters long. One of the hornless dragons was heading straight for the lava terror claw bear. The dragon horn pierced into the lava terror claw bear's chest. The lava terror claw bear instantly lost consciousness. But all of this was just the beginning. The mother of bloodbath immediately used its funeral of light. Through light energy it controlled the lava terror claw bear. Before the lava terror claw bear was burned dry by the light energy, it would become a puppet under the mother of bloodbath's control. The mother of bloodbath was not sure if the soul thought whale could collect its current soul. This momentary enjoyment of motherly love was interrupted. The fire attribute phase that had arrived all stared at their mother's projection with green eyes. It was obvious that it wanted to absorb the fire element within the phantom. This made the mother of bloodbath furious. You bastards who have always been blessed by your mother, it's fine if you don't know how to be grateful. Now he even wanted to hit on his mother. Thinking of this, the mother of bloodbath's emotions instantly exploded. Then a long spear appeared in the mother of bloodbath's hand. Right at this moment, a delicate voice sounded from afar. "Leave this to me." Then, a middle-aged woman in a red dress appeared in front of the mother of bloodbath. First, it bowed gently to the mother of bloodbath and the woman beside it. Then the woman pulled out a red hairpin from her head. Then he held the hairpin and said softly, "Soul return." Everything boils. Immediately after, the woman's face was covered with triangular scales. It was obvious that these scales were snake scales. A cry came from the woman's mouth. A colorless poisonous mist was spat out from the woman's mouth. The woman threw the hairpin into the poisonous mist. The hairpin quickly dissolved in the poisonous mist, dyeing it crimson. Then the poisonous mist spread out. All fays below Myth 2 were contaminated with this poisonous mist. All of them were like wax figures quickly dissolving. In the blink of an eye, their originally strong bodies flowed into meat soup. All the fays that coveted the woman's projection were cleared by the middle-aged woman. This was the second time Lin Yuan saw a Myth 3 fay use body weaponization and soul return. After the middle-aged woman used the killer move, she restrained the aura on her body. She bowed to the mother of bloodbath and said, "This servant greets the lady." The mother of bloodbath looked at the middle-aged woman with an undiminished aura. Feeling the mother of bloodbath's hostility, the middle-aged woman hurriedly explained. Sensing the mother of bloodbath's hostility, the middle-aged woman hurriedly explained. "Miss, I'm a poison fire centipede with an extremely ordinary bloodline. When I just broke out of the eggshell, the lady happened to perish." While speaking, the middle-aged woman looked admiringly at the woman's projection beside the mother of bloodbath before continuing. "I've been blessed by the lady since I was young. My talent has mutated, and my strength has increased rapidly. My strength has already reached the peak of Myth 3. My lord, I can no longer repay you. If Miss doesn't mind, I'm willing to follow Mississippi. Firstly, I can report this matter to you. Secondly, I can be a servant and help Miss a little." The middle-aged woman looked at him in disgust. The fays that had turned into meat soup and fused with the soil said, "Don't worry. Miss, there are 2 types of spiritual objects here. The first type are the natives of the lava lands who have been blessed since birth. One is a fire-type fae that migrated to the land of lava because of its environment. These Fays only treat the land of lava as a treasure land and want to constantly plunder the land of lava's resources. The reason why I'm here now is because the others are guarding Bao Yen. That treasure rock has always been regarded by us as Lord's incarnation. Not long ago, a few foreign Fays found helpers and wanted to snatch the treasure rock. Now those outsiders have been stopped while we're all injured. We killed the few Fays that were leading the pack. They shouldn't be coming for a while. Miss, are you going to take a look at the treasure rock? From the moment we sensed your aura, we decided to follow you from now on. Upon hearing the middle-aged woman's words, the mother of Bloodbath's heart trembled slightly. To the mother of Bloodbath itself. In essence, it did not like those Fays that had transformed because of the nourishment of its mother's flesh and blood. This was because the growth of these Fays was equivalent to gnawing on its mother's flesh and blood. However, the middle-aged woman's words did not make the mother of Bloodbath angry. Instead, it was very touched. Lin Yuan looked at the middle-aged woman's sincere expression. He thought of those Fays that were guarding the treasure rock in the core area. Lin Yuan had a deeper understanding of what it meant for Fays to value favors. That treasure rock was most likely formed from the Sky Corona Jade Spider's spider leg. It was a great supplement for any fire-type Fae. These Fays had guarded this treasure rock for generations out of gratitude. Now they were more willing to use the rest of their lives to serve the mother of Bloodbath. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath speak. I want to watch Lin Yuan grow from now on. It was my mother who turned into the land of lava, and I still have my father. When the time comes, I'll talk to my father and let you all become non-staff members of the Heaven's Blessed Mansion. Chapter 1559. When speaking, the mother of Bloodbath was very honest. At the same time, the expression on his face was exceptionally grateful. Regardless of whether the treasure rock that had been guarded for so many years truly contained his mother's soul. However, these Fays had transformed because of their mother's flesh and blood. He was indeed using his own way to protect and appreciate his mother. The middle-aged woman was shocked when she heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. Then he opened his mouth wide in shock. The middle-aged woman's thoughts were simple. The reason he chose to do this was because he wanted to repay the debt of gratitude. He didn't have any other thoughts. However, he did not expect the mother of Bloodbath to arrange for them to stay in the heaven-blessed abode. He became a non-staff member of the heaven-blessed mansion. Although Fays would develop greed when facing the favored spirit that was weaker than them, the favored spirit would not be able to resist it. He wanted to seize the opportunity of the favored spirit. However, among all the Fays, the heaven-blessed mansion was an incomparably sacred existence. It represented the Fays' greatest faction in the origin world. The internal members of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo were always the Heaven's Blessed Spirits. However, there would be many spirit items added to the Heaven Blessed Guest Hall. He became a non-staff member of the Heaven Blessed Mansion. This was the lifelong goal of many Fays. The threshold to become a non-staff member of the Heaven Blessed Mansion was extremely high. He had to be at least a creation breed in order to have a chance. Among the spiritual creatures guarding the treasure cliff, his strength was considered relatively strong. However, the middle-aged woman still did not believe that she had the qualifications to become a non-staff member of the Heaven-Blessed Mansion. The mother of Bloodbath was making arrangements for the middle-aged woman. Actually, he had his own thoughts. These Fays were following him to repay his mother's kindness. If he allowed these Fays to join Sky City, when these Fays were assigned missions they might not have any complaints. But when working together with other white-clothed followers, Fays were unruly and unwilling to be disciplined. It was inevitable that there would be disputes with the white-clothed followers. This was because there were no contracted Fays. For example, the mother of Bloodbath had relied on its own abilities to comprehend willpower runes and contend with heaven and earth. Their temperaments were usually extremely domineering and unruly. Shueshua had become Lin Yuan's protector. Afterward, she would stay by Lin Yuan's side. He handed these people over to his father and let his father deploy them. It was also equivalent to increasing the strength of Lin Yuan's side. He also saw Blood Beginning, Blue Lotus and White Phoenix's mother of Bloodbath. He was now a member of the Heaven's Blessed Dojo. The mother of Bloodbath felt that Lin Yuan would definitely become a Radiance Envoy. When Lin Yuan became a Radiance Envoy, it would be the same as standing at the heart of the main world struggle. If the entire Heaven-Blessed Mansion could stand on Lin Yuan's side at that time, it would undoubtedly be of great help to him. It was said that a married daughter was like spilled water. The mother of Bloodbath was still a little spider waiting to be married. However, his mind was completely on Lin Yuan's side. Lin Yuan saw the fire elemental energy in the Mother of Bloodbath's shadow show signs of overflowing. He knew that this was because the celestial corona jade spider's wish had been fulfilled. These fire elements that had lost their obsession were about to dissipate and merge with heaven and earth. Lin Yuan hurriedly suggested to the Mother of Bloodbath, "Mother of Bloodbath, the fire elemental energy here is showing signs of overflowing. In another 20 minutes, it will begin to disperse. It will completely dissipate within 2 hours. Try and see if you can absorb the fire elemental energy in this phantom. If I don't absorb it and use it, the energy will leak out. That would be a waste." The Mother of Bloodbath shook its head gently. His celestial corona jade spider bloodline was of the light attribute. This phantom was filled with fire elemental energy. The Mother of Bloodbath could not absorb it. Blue Lotus had already told the Mother of Bloodbath the secret of the sky corona jade spider bloodline. Therefore, only his father, Shueshua, was the most suitable person to absorb the fire elemental energy within this phantom. Shueshua was the weakest among all the hall masters of the blessed dojo. However, Shueshua, who had become an eternal sovereign, had become a great sovereign. His foundation was already solid. As long as he absorbed the energy that was compatible with his own origin, his strength would increase rapidly. Shueshua's celestial sundial jade spider bloodline came from the Jade Gue. Yu Gue had sacrificed all of his bloodline to Shueshua at the critical moment of life and death. Thus, the fire elemental energy within this phantom was the same source as blood beginnings. After absorbing the fire elemental energy in this phantom, even if Shueshua's strength couldn't reach the peak of the eternal realm, at the very least he would be able to improve by a large margin. In just a few hours, the Mother of Bloodbath already knew that her father, Shueshua, was Shueshua. He was an affectionate person. This phantom looked like its mother and contained the fire elemental energy within its mother when she was alive. This fire elemental energy allowed the Mother of Bloodbath to sense its mother's aura. It could also allow Shueshua to sense his wife's aura. Based on the Mother of Bloodbath's understanding of Shueshua, Shueshua understood the situation. Not only would he not absorb the fire elemental energy within, he would also try his best to gather the fire elemental energy that was about to dissipate. He would also use his own fire elemental energy to nourish the fire elemental energy within the phantom. This was all so that this phantom could be maintained for a longer period of time. Shueshua was very powerful. In the beginning, it was not difficult to maintain the stability of the fire elemental energy within the phantom. However, at every moment, there would be its own fire elemental energy being consumed. As time passed, the fire elemental energy within Shueshua's body would be constantly overdrawn. Overdrawing for a long period of time was very likely to cause Shueshua's recently stabilized rank to fall from eternal to immortal. The Mother of Bloodbath understood a principle since it was young. That was, the dead were gone and the living could reminisce. If it really could not do anything, it should not be too difficult for itself. The Mother of Bloodbath took out its cell phone and dialed Shueshua's number. However, the Mother of Bloodbath did not directly reveal the situation of this phantom. Instead, it released its exclusive skill, the external blood bone, which had condensed into 3 hornless dragons. They stood guard beside the phantom. These 3 hornless dragons had combat strength comparable to the Mother of Bloodbath's main body. It was enough to protect the fire elemental energy within the phantom and prevent other fire-type phase from thinking about it. The Mother of Bloodbath gave Lin Yuan a look. Shueshua had just come out of the Radiant Moon Palace. He saw his daughter calling him. At the foot of the Leaning Moon Mountain, he softly chatted with the Mother of Bloodbath. The Mother of Bloodbath had not brought up any topics. However, in the face of his long-lost daughter, even listening to the Mother of Bloodbath's breathing, Shueshua also felt very satisfied. Blue Lotus and White Phoenix were still in the Radiant Moon Palace. They continued to talk about the Tower Cannon with the Moon Empress. After the Moon Empress consideration, since the Heavens Blessed Dojo and the Tower Cannon were enemies, the Moon Empress, Blue Lotus and White Phoenix exchanged information about the Tower Cannon. Chapter 1560. At that moment, Lin Yuan, the Mother of Bloodbath, and the middle-aged woman had arrived at the core area where Bao Yan was. When he got closer, he suddenly realized something. The aura of this treasure rock was exactly the same as the aura of the woman's shadow. Perhaps it was even thicker. This treasure rock looked like a small section of a spider's leg. This small section of spider leg protruded out of the ground, nearly 20 meters high. Apart from the middle-aged woman, all the other fays in this place had the middle-aged woman as well. There was also a humanoid myth-breed fae with 2 broken arms and 1 broken leg. He was about to fall to the ground. The other fays that were unable to transform into human form were also severely injured. When these fays saw Lin Yuan, they clearly revealed vigilant expressions. However, after seeing the middle-aged woman and feeling the Mother of Bloodbath's aura, the woman's expression changed. The fays quietened down. A look of admiration appeared on his face. Lin Yuan waved his hand and released the Diamond X/Fantasy V Jasmine Lily. The Jasmine Lily spun gently. The bud of mountain jade at the tip quietly bloomed. There was a green stalk in the middle of 3 white flowers. He spat out 3 torrents of life energy. The 3 torrents of life weaved into a huge net of life. All the fays had become a node in this huge net. The end of the life web converged on the humanoid myth-breed fae that had lost 2 arms and 1 leg. That humanoid myth-breed fae was already in despair. As a volcanic foxrat fae, it originally only had 4 limbs, but it was a volcanic foxrat. But because of the battle just now, it had lost 3 limbs at the same time. Even if he could get treatment in time, the volcano foxel would also lose its ability to move forever. As far as the volcanic foxrats knew, their limbs were broken. There was no possibility of recovery. Only those amphibious myth-breed fays would die after their limbs were broken. Only then would it be possible to use its own super regeneration talent to regrow its limbs. Even if it was a fae with super regeneration talent, it would not be able to survive in the amphibious fae category. Even so, it was only a minority. However, the volcano foxel didn't expect this. When the flood of life poured into his body, he felt a chill run down his spine. The cells in his body were instantly activated. A large amount of blood rushed to the 3 severed limbs. The life force in the torrent of life nourished the severed limb and actually activated its own genetic model. It allowed the limbs to regrow. After a short while, the volcanic foxel was shocked to discover something. His broken limbs were regenerating bit by bit. A huge surprise filled the volcanic foxrat's heart. Even if he was fated to be born, it had been very difficult for the volcanic foxrats to reach this stage. Protecting the treasure rock had become the faith of the volcanic foxrats. The volcanic foxel was willing to sacrifice its life for this. However, the volcanic foxel also hoped that it could survive. Moreover, he didn't live like a cripple. Otherwise, if someone had designs on Bao Yan again, he would lose his ability to fight. He could only watch helplessly as Bao Yan was snatched away. After being healed by Lin Yuan, these fays bowed toward him. To express his gratitude, these fays had a question in their minds. The person who helped him just now seemed to be a fool. Why is he talking to the air? Furthermore, what he said involved the soul. How strange. The soul-thought whale was a legendary spirit creature. It would only appear when Lin Yuan and Bai Lan fused together, allowing others to see it. Usually, when Lin Yuan summoned it out, it would not be able to do so. Only Lin Yuan could see the figure of the soul-thought whale. Under Lin Yuan's instructions, the soul-thought whale used soul knot. It began to filter the souls collected near the treasure rock. A huge battle had just happened here. Many fays had perished. Therefore, no matter how the soul-thought whale filtered, it would only get those fays that had just died in battle. Lin Yuan could clearly feel it. There was an aura similar to the woman's shadow inside the treasure rock. However, the soul-thought whale's soul knot could not directly explore inside an object. Therefore, he wanted to see if this treasure rock contained the Jade Gui's soul. He needed to destroy this treasure rock. Lin Yuan couldn't make a decision on his own. He looked at the Mother of Bloodbath. The Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's gaze and saw him make a smashing action toward the treasure rock. The Mother of Bloodbath was stunned. After pondering for less than 3 seconds, the Mother of Bloodbath made a decision. The other fays were dumbfounded. The Mother of Bloodbath reached out and broke off a human-tall stone at the tip of the treasure rock. At the same time, Lin Yuan immediately let the soul-thought whale use soul knot. At that moment, Shuo realized that something was wrong. The Mother of Bloodbath had said that she had something to do with Lin Yuan. Now she had called him and talked for a full 8 minutes. But she hadn't said anything serious. Moreover, there was a feeling that there was something hidden in her words. Shuo immediately confirmed that the Mother of Bloodbath must have encountered something. Shuo couldn't help but feel anxious. Little Qing, where are you now? I'm done here. I'll look for you immediately. At that moment, the Mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan's face reveal a sunny smile. He nodded heavily to himself. The Mother of Bloodbath, which was suppressing its worries, suddenly burst into tears and flowed down like a mountain torrent. Lin Yuan didn't comfort the Mother of Bloodbath. It had been suppressed for so long. It really needed to vent its emotions. When Shueshua heard the mother of Bloodbath suddenly cry, he panicked. As a father, Shueshua subconsciously thought, could it be that Lin Yuan bullied the mother of Bloodbath and didn't want to take responsibility? The more Shueshua thought, the more anxious he became. He heard the mother of Bloodbath say with a sobbing tone, "Dad, Lin Yuan helped to search for Mother's soul in the land of lava. Mother still has a chance to be resurrected." The mother of Bloodbath's words made the anxious Shueshua on the other end of the phone. He stood there in a daze for a long time. A 9-foot man was squatting on the ground at the foot of Radiant Moon Mountain. He happily hit the ground with his hands. The corners of his mouth clearly wanted to curl up, but the sourness in his heart and the sadness of parting. All sorts of mixed emotions surged in his heart. It forcibly suppressed the corners of Shueshua's mouth. Tears of the same temperature as the mother of Bloodbath. They flowed out of Shueshua's eyes as he held his head with both hands. The mother of Bloodbath could clearly feel the change in its father's aura. The mother of Bloodbath could imagine how happy Shueshua was at this moment. But time waited for no one. There were still 7 to 8 minutes left before the fire elements in the phantom dissipated. The mother of Bloodbath hurriedly said, "Dad, come to the land of lava now. You will be able to sense my location when you reach the land of lava. Mom is here. She left something for you. If you don't come and collect it, this thing will spill into the world." Chapter 1561. As soon as the mother of Bloodbath's voice fell, an anomaly appeared on the sun in the sky. The people who caught a glimpse of the sun in every corner of the origin world suddenly discovered that, on the sun overhead, spider-like patterns actually appeared. The next moment, Shueshua's figure emerged from the sunlight of the lava land. The spider pattern on the sun also disappeared at this moment. Everyone thought that they were seeing things. Shueshua, who had just arrived at the land of lava, immediately saw the figure of a woman with a corona on her head. At this moment Shueshua opened his arms in a daze. His body suddenly grew taller. It only stopped when it reached the same height as the woman's silhouette. Then Shueshua's enlarged figure reached out and gently embraced her. The woman who had just hugged the mother of Bloodbath was now being hugged by Shueshua. It was as if there should have been a baby in the whirling years. It appeared in the arms of Shueshua and the woman's shadow. Under the meticulous care of Shueshua and the illusory woman, she was like a princess. To live a happy life in the world. It was an arachnid fae. Like the mother of Bloodbath, Shueshua was not good at expressing his emotions. However, Shueshua's emotions had already reached the point of insanity. It could be said that in recent years, the main theme of Blood Beginning's emotions had been sadness. Ever since Shueshua could remember. All the joyful emotions added up couldn't compare to what he felt today. Today Shueshua had found his and Yugue's lost child, Shueqing. Furthermore, the child had acknowledged his identity as his father. More importantly, Shueshua actually heard that there was a chance for Jade Gue to be resurrected. Shueshua found it hard to believe. Because Shueshua had seen Yugue die with his own eyes. Before he died, he even extracted his bloodline. But Shueshua believed in his daughter. There was no way he would lie to her about the Jade Gue. Shueshua's tears fell on the silhouette's hair. A faint mist rose from the ground. At that moment, one of the 3 hornless dragons spoke. "Dad, hurry up and absorb all the fire elements that Mother left behind. I'll need your help to collect Mother's soul later." "Dad, I know you don't want to absorb the fire elements Mother left behind. But if these fire elements are not absorbed, they will be wasted. Daddy, only by becoming stronger can you protect me and Mother when we encounter danger in the future." Originally, Shueshua had not intended to absorb the fire elemental energy. Instead, he planned to use his own methods. He stored the fire elemental energy, even if it would affect him. However, the mother of Bloodbath's comforting words pierced Shueshua's heart like an awl. That's right. If he was strong enough, how could he have looked at the 5 pages of truth helplessly? He launched a sneak attack on Yugue when she was giving birth. How could he let his daughter go missing? Everything that had happened was because he wasn't strong enough. Now, 2 of the 8 pages of the Pagoda Canon were about to enter Radiance. The Freedom Federation and the Azure Federation's envoys would come to the Radiance Federation to observe the ceremony. He had just conversed with the Moon Empress in the Radiant Moon Palace. Shueshua could sense that the Radiance Federation was a sleeping lion. He had already bared his fangs at Tadian Station. The whale ocean trade must have been the needle that had awakened Hui Yao, the lion. Therefore he needed to be strong enough. Only then could he protect his daughter. Then he looked forward to the day when his wife could be resurrected. He thanked Lin Yuan for his kindness. According to the mother of Bloodbath, it was Lin Yuan who had helped collect the Jade Gui's soul. Lin Yuan had saved the mother of Bloodbath's life several times. He had also allowed the mother of Bloodbath to successfully awaken the favored spirit's bloodline. If the mother of Bloodbath hadn't triggered the sun phenomenon when it had transformed into the favored spirit, Shueshua wasn't sure if he had reached the Radiance Federation, whether he could find the mother of Bloodbath whose bloodline had yet to awaken. Apart from his daughter's favor, Shueshua had to repay Lin Yuan. He also had to repay Lin Yuan for resurrecting his wife. However, Shueshua felt that even if he did it in front of Lin Yuan, he had disassembled himself and turned his entire body into spiritual materials. It was far from enough to repay Lin Yuan. Furthermore, the Jade Gui had been the Heaven's Blessed Dojo's second hall master. Lin Yuan had resurrected the Jade Gui, which meant that he was the benefactor of the entire Heaven's Blessed Dojo. Only God knew how happy Big Sister Ziqing would be when she found out. Feeling the phantom in his arms, the fire elements began to dissipate. Shueshua's body was suddenly surrounded by reddish gold flames. The sunset bathrobe draped over Shueshua's body. Shueshua's red hair was dyed gold. His eyes, one red and one orange, ignited with a glazed flame. The fire elements in the woman's phantom came from the same source as the fire elements in Shueshua's body. At this moment, the fire elements in the phantom were like young birds flying into the forest. All of them entered Shueshua's body. The aura in Shueshua's body suddenly rose a few notches. The eternal aura on Shueshua's body grew stronger and stronger. The sun in the sky seemed to be celebrating this moment. The cotton candy-like clouds in the sky, under the light and heat emitted by the sun, evaporated. They were all evaporated. Everywhere, even if it was raining just a moment ago. At this moment, everything became a sunny day. At this moment, the mother of Bloodbath, who was using the external blood bone to check on Shueshua's situation, discovered something. On Shueshua's neck, a magnificent sun totem was climbing up his face. The sun totem's climbing process was like the sun's rise. This kind of totem was not an imprint on the body. Instead, it was a kind of condensed light and shadow. At this moment, the mother of Bloodbath saw Shueshua turn his head. His fingers gently tapped on the horns of the three hornless dragons. Then, on the bodies of the three scarlet blood hornless dragons. Suddenly, the same sun totem as the one on Shueshua's face climbed up. 3 layers of sunset bathrobes draped over the 3 scarlet blood dragons. This made the 3 scarlet blood dragons look extraordinarily ferocious. It also added a hint of elegance and brilliance. "Dad, what is this?" Shueshua answered the mother of Bloodbath's question and explained softly. After the Blessed Spirit ascends to the Eternal Realm and reaches the 3rd of the 12 cycles of the Eternal Realm, the Blessed Spirit can then use the Blessed Spirit. Under normal circumstances, the Blessed Spirit can only be used once every 10 years. However, these 3 hornless dragons formed from your venomous fangs are in essence just 3 fangs. I've split the divine blessing into 3 portions. It's been applied to these 3 scarlet blood dragons. The Blue Lotus's blessed spirit is a blessing with auxiliary functions. When it was used for Lin Yuan, it made the water elements extremely friendly to him. Even the most violent phase that used water elements as their source energy would not attack Lin Yuan. Such blessings did not have much practical use to Lin Yuan. Not only will my blessed spirit not help Lin Yuan, but it might also increase his burden. It might even increase Lin Yuan's burden. That's because my divine blessing consumes the bloodline energy within the Blessed One's body. This might be due to my Scarlet Tarantula bloodline's effect on the Blessed Spirit. Chapter 1562. A look of reminiscence appeared on Shueshua's face as he spoke. He pondered for a moment before continuing. My blessings are different from your mother's, Jade Gui's. However, this change has also made my divine blessings attacks even more powerful. These 3 hornless dragons are wearing sunset bathrobes. It has the power to burn undying. It's just that every time it's used, it needs to absorb the sun's energy to recharge. Daughter, within 10 years, you won't have to be afraid of any beings below the undying realm. In these 10 years, I will think of a way to help you reach the immortal realm. Parents love their children, so they must have a long-term plan for them. Even though it was Shueshua's first day finding the mother of Bloodbath, he still had a long way to go. However, he had already begun to plot for the mother of Bloodbath. How pitiful parents are. Shueshua's words echoed throughout the entire Fey world. And no one dared to tell their children. It was a pinnacle mythical fae that could allow its offspring to never become a creation breed within 10 years. He directly broke through to the Genesis tier, and finally became an immortal tier cultivator. Furthermore, there were no faes that could help their children transcend 2 major grades. He wanted his children to use their mythical bodies to fight against the immortal enemies. Shueishua's promise to the mother of Bloodbath required him to fulfill it within 10 years. He kept running around for it. Perhaps this was Shueishua's silent interpretation of fatherly love for the mother of Bloodbath. Upon hearing that, the mother of Bloodbath's eyes couldn't help but sting. The mother of Bloodbath said softly, "Dad, come with me. Actually, you don't have to be so tired. It'll be great if you can accompany me more often in the future." Perhaps the most urgent thing for the mother of Bloodbath now was to increase its strength. The mother of Bloodbath felt that Lin Yuan was more like its path protector if it did not improve its strength. He was the one being protected. But now, the mother of Bloodbath, which had received Shueishua's blessing, could fight an immortal expert head-on. In the short term, he could already take on the responsibility of Lin Yuan's path protector. Moreover, Lin Yuan's subordinate Bai Yen had reached the peak of immortal realm. Even if the mother of Bloodbath's strength had been enhanced through the heavenly blessing, it would not be able to defeat the mother of Bloodbath. However, he still couldn't compare to Bai Yen. Thus, the mother of Bloodbath had no choice but to face reality. Within a year, the mother of Bloodbath had seen Lin Yuan walk step by step from zero to where he was now. 10 years, even if he really became an undying. Who knew what level Lin Yuan had reached? Therefore, instead of letting his father run around everywhere for him, it was better to use the eternal strength to secretly protect Lin Yuan. In this way he could always meet Shueishua. Shueishua heard the mother of Bloodbath's words. A loving smile appeared on his face. Although he did not say anything, Shueishua had already decided to do so. However, Shueishua's thoughts would soon be changed by Lin Yuan. He followed the hornless dragon formed by the mother of Bloodbath's blood and bones all the way to the center of the lava field. Shueishua immediately saw the spider-legged Bao Yen. None of the people present had seen the true form of the Jade Gui with their own eyes. However, not only had Shueishua seen it, he had even touched it. Therefore, Shueishua was certain that the Bao Yen was in the shape of one of Shueishua's legs. However, Shueishua also knew that this treasure rock wasn't really formed from the Jade Gui's spider leg. Presumably, it was a part of the Jade Gui's soul that had been nourished by the fire element transformed from its body. Slowly it melted into the rocks here. Finally, because of the soul's form, it changed the shape of the rocks. The soul that Lin Yuan mentioned should be collecting the remnant soul in the Jade Gui and the Bao Yen. In Shueishua's opinion, this remnant soul could only be a thought. Even if it gathered, it couldn't be considered resurrection. However, just this thought alone. To Shueishua, it was already a treasure that he could cherish for the rest of his life. At this moment, Shueishua heard Lin Yuan say to him, "Uncle Shue, this Bao Yen is harder than Shue Qing and I expected. I still need you to break this Bao Yen. Only then can I collect the soul in this Bao Yen." With the strength of an immortal, Shueishua could keenly sense it. There was a living being beside Lin Yuan. This living being was constantly filtering and screening the surrounding souls. This discovery secretly shocked Shueishua. Shueishua was able to discover this living being precisely because it was constantly mobilizing the souls. Otherwise, to Shueishua, this living being, it was a living being that could become completely invisible. Looking at Shueishua's expression, Lin Yuan didn't have to use his ability to fuse with blue. This would allow Shueishua to directly see the soul remembrance whale. The soul remembrance whale was of great importance and had already become an important trump card for Lin Yuan. There were so many fays here. Lin Yuan couldn't expose the soul remembrance whale. However, Lin Yuan didn't mind explaining to Shueishua. Uncle Shue, although he doesn't have much combat ability, but he can use spiritual materials that contain soul power to nourish the remnant soul. And finally, the remnant soul will become complete. It's just that for the soul to awaken its memories, it needs enough remnant souls. When Shueishua heard Lin Yuan's words, he was stunned again. Then he rushed to Lin Yuan's side in ecstasy and lost his composure. Jade Gui's remnant soul can become complete and awaken its memories? Is it true? Is that really true? Lin Yuan couldn't help but roll his eyes. The mother of Bloodbath had clearly said over the phone that Anti-Jade Gui could be resurrected. Uncle Shue, you heard it? Anti-Jade Gui's soul will not be complete. It won't awaken its memories. What kind of resurrection is that? Uncle Shue, you're an adult. Can't you be more mature? However, Lin Yuan could understand Shueishua's feelings. If his parents could be resurrected now, Lin Yuan would probably be just as excited and lose his composure. However, Lin Yuan and Chu Xi didn't have such luck. Shueishua was now hearing such shocking news. What he needed the most was an affirmative answer from Lin Yuan. That's right, but the prerequisite is that there are enough remnant souls in this treasure rock. Otherwise, it's very likely that Auntie Jade Gui will lose part of her memories after resurrection. Of course, these memories are the fainter ones in Auntie Jade Gui's mind. Just like you, Xueqing, and the Heaven-Blessed Dojo's Hall Masters. It's impossible for Auntie Jade Gui to forget. When Shueishua heard that, he bowed to Lin Yuan and said, I really don't know how to thank you. For the rest of my life, you'll be asking me to do things that will definitely kill me. For the rest of my life, you'll be asking me to do things that will definitely kill me. I'll do it without hesitation. The soul of a myth-breed Fae could already condense into a physical body. Jade Gui, which had become eternal, could naturally do the same. As long as Jade Gui's soul could condense and obtain its memories, even without a body, Shueishua and the Mother of Bloodbath's family would still be complete and happy. This was something that Shueishua wouldn't even dare to dream of. If it were in the past, Shueishua would definitely not bear to break this treasure rock that had fused with Jade Gui's remnant soul. But now Shueishua stepped forward. He reached out and crushed the treasure rock into dust. Shueishua crushed it very carefully. He was afraid that this Fae beside Lin Yuan wouldn't be able to extract all the soul power in the treasure rock. This was because Shueishua still remembered Jade Gui's greatest wish before her death. It was to take a look at his daughter. After the soul thought whale had identified a type of soul, it could release a waveform through the whale's brain. It could search this type of soul. Soon, the soul thought whale gathered all the Sky Corona Jade Spider's remnant soul through its soul knot ability. However, during the search, Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted. Chapter 1563. Every time the spirit thought whale searched, it would find the remnant soul of the Sky Corona Jade Spider. However, the remnant souls that he had collected were too weak. In the end, a large number of remnant souls gathered together. However, he couldn't even draw out the shape of the Qiankui Jade Spider. Now Shueishua was about to crush more than half of the spider-legged treasure rock. Based on this progress, Lin Yuan felt that, in the end, the soul thought whale used its exclusive skill, Burning Soul Rebirth. He consumed a large amount of spirit materials to repair the Jade Gui's soul. Yu Gui's soul should not have been able to retain too many memories. Even Shueishua and the Mother of Bloodbath might not be able to remember them. Both Shueishua and the Mother of Bloodbath were looking forward to their wives' resurrection. One was looking forward to his mother's resurrection. Both of them were looking forward to the reunion of the family of three. Such a fact might be cruel. However, he had to tell Blood Beginning and the Mother of Bloodbath. Because there was no way to lie about such things. From the moment she saw Lin Yuan frown, Shueishua and the Mother of Bloodbath's hearts jumped. He thought that something had gone wrong. However, they did not dare to ask Lin Yuan. He was afraid that he would delay Lin Yuan from commanding the soul thought whale to search for the soul. At that moment they heard Lin Yuan speak. Uncle Blood, Mother of Bloodbath. I have something to tell you. You have to be mentally prepared. Auntie Yu Gui's soul fragment is too small in this treasure rock. It's so rare that it can't even form a soul. Even if I eventually complete Aunt Yu Gui's soul. When you see Aunt Yu Gui's soul again, she might not remember you anymore. The Mother of Bloodbath's expression collapsed. But Shueishua did not. Shueishua had never thought that Jade Gui could be resurrected. This was because Shueishua did not expect Lin Yuan to have a way to restore the remnant soul. In the Heaven's Blessed Mansion, there were many objects that had been contaminated by the aura of the Jade Gui. Just like the silk handkerchief in Ziqing's hand. It was after Yu Gui's death that big sister Ziqing came to the lava field. He used the method of gathering souls. She gathered all the souls in the land of lava into the silk handkerchief that the Jade Gui usually used. That silk handkerchief definitely contained many of Yu Gui's soul fragments. At that time he just needed to ask big sister Ziqing to bring the silk handkerchief over. Just let Lin Yuan command the Fae to absorb it. After Shueishua explained the situation, Lin Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. The Mother of Bloodbath's face was no longer depressed. The Mother of Bloodbath turned around and spoke to the Fae guarding at the side. Go to the inner circle of the lava fields. If anyone comes to the core area to investigate, remember to explain the situation to them. Do not clash with the Bronze Cauldron guards of Bronze Cauldron City. The Fae standing at the side heard the Mother of Bloodbath's instructions. He immediately moved and gave up the core area. After the Faes had left, Lin Huang's eyes lit up. The mother of bloodbath summoned its sacred source life form, the myriad medicine hot spring. There was a spring that was filled with mist. He quietly appeared at the mother of bloodbath's feet. Through the mist, he could faintly see the underwater ruins. There were already hundreds of spirit plants. Clearly, the mother of bloodbath had not relaxed its absorption of the myriad medicine spring's spirit herbs. The mother of bloodbath whispered to Shueshua, "Dad, this is the sacred source life form that Lin Yuan found for me." Back then it was Lin Yuan who won the civil and martial duels as a reward. Shueshua was stunned when he heard the mother of bloodbath's words. Could it be that little Qing wants to tell me how good Lin Yuan is? Is she going to announce her relationship with Lin Yuan in front of me? The moment this thought appeared, it immediately made Shueshua, the newbie dad, break out in a cold sweat. Shueshua hoped that such a situation would not happen, because in such a situation Shueshua would not be able to withstand it. If the mother of bloodbath had been by Shueshua's side since young, the mother of bloodbath had told Shueshua who she was going to be with. Shueshua would definitely threaten the brat who had abducted his daughter. He would tell him that if he dared to bully little Qing, he would beat him up and teach him a lesson. But Lin Yuan was now the benefactor of Shueshua's family of 3. Let Shueshua threaten Lin Yuan. Shueshua could not do such a thing. But seriously, Lin Yuan was really good to little Qing. Even the prize for first place was given to Xiao Qing. Just as Shueshua was in a mess, the mother of bloodbath continued to speak. "Dad, my sacred source life form is called the myriad medicine hot spring. It doesn't match my fighting style at all. When I first got it, I was very depressed." Shueshua was even more confused when he heard the mother of bloodbath's words. Once a sacred source life form was contracted, there was no way to change it. Could it be that little Qing wanted to be comforted by him? Just as Shueshua was about to comfort the mother of bloodbath, the mother of bloodbath changed the topic and said, "Dad, this sacred source life form doesn't match me, but it's my favorite among all the sacred source life forms I've seen so far. Right now, the myriad medicine hot spring has absorbed a few hundred plants with medicinal properties. I feel more and more that the myriad medicine hot spring can reconstruct the body. After Lin Yuan condenses mother's soul, I can use Lin Yuan's help. As long as I obtain a part of mother's body, I have the confidence to activate that part of mother's body. Let mother's body regenerate." The mother of bloodbath's words were definitely not to comfort Shueshua. This was originally a thought. When the myriad medicine hot spring absorbed the first spirit plant, the blood peach blossom, the mother of bloodbath did not feel any obvious changes in the myriad medicine hot spring. Thus, it did not take Lin Yuan's idea too seriously. However, quantitative change led to qualitative change. Now, the mother of bloodbath could clearly feel it. The myriad medicine hot spring's healing ability when it was stacked with medicinal properties. Although the mother of bloodbath had not found a way to let objects regenerate according to the genetic model, Lin Yuan's jasmine lily was already able to do this. With the jasmine lily's help, the myriad medicine hot spring did not need to master this ability. Shueshua heard the mother of bloodbath's words. Once again he was so excited that he did not know what to do. Shueshua felt that from birth until now, except for the day of the Jade Gui's death, there was no other day. It was even greater than the ups and downs of his emotions today. It was just as his daughter had said. The Jade Gui could not only maintain life in a soul state, it could also reconstruct the body. While Shueshua was happy, he was also secretly surprised. The mother of bloodbath's sacred source life form, the myriad medicine hot spring, together with Lin Yuan's invisible Fei, wouldn't it be able to resurrect the dead? Thinking of this, Shueshua suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. This ability broke the laws of birth, aging, sickness and death. Once outsiders found out, no matter what identity the mother of bloodbath and Lin Yuan had, they would be in danger of being targeted. Chapter 1564. Fortunately, the mother of bloodbath had diverted those Feis. Otherwise, if the mother of bloodbath directly revealed the myriad herb hot spring to those Feis, the myriad herb hot spring wouldn't be able to survive. In order to ensure the safety of his daughter and Lin Yuan, Shueshua was very afraid of him. He had no choice but to kill those loyal Feis. Just as Shueshua was about to warn Lin Yuan and the mother of bloodbath, Shueshua suddenly realized that Lin Yuan was in a state of epiphany. At this moment, a willpower rune related to the soul appeared. It formed in Lin Yuan's mind. The soul force of this rune disassembled and reassembled it. The cycle repeated as though the spirit remembrance whale was searching and gathering souls. This willpower rune was related to the combination of souls. Lin Yuan had comprehended it when he had sensed the soul thought whale and condensed the jade gui soul. It was very suitable for the soul thought whale. He opened his eyes and revealed a smile. He didn't expect to receive such an unexpected reward from helping the mother of Bloodbath resurrect its mother. When the soul thought whale became a fantasy breed, he could raise the soul thought whale strength to Diamond X. At that time, the speed at which the soul thought whale condensed the soul would undoubtedly increase. It could speed up the condensation and completion of the soul of the Jade Gui. Apart from that, the Remembrance Spirit Whale's rank had increased. It would allow Morbius to break through the limit of Silver rank level 10. Promoted to the Gold rank. At the same time that Lin Yuan obtained a new spirit lock, Fei, Morbius, who had been asleep for a long time, might very well wake up again. Lin Yuan had been looking forward to this day for a long time. At this time, Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guard had reached the inner circle of the lava field. All the fire elemental energy in the lava field had been used up. The changes to the environment around the city would affect Bronze Cauldron City's industries. It directly caused a huge impact. Bronze Cauldron City used to be a big city next to a forest, rich in spirit fruits and flowers. The formation of the lava field forced Bronze Cauldron City to reorganize their industries. But now Bronze Cauldron City had just recovered a bit of its vitality. Unexpectedly, the environment changed again. If this mutation was really irreversible, then it would be impossible to reverse it. Bronze Cauldron City's Yuan Qi would be greatly damaged again. All the industrial arrangements had to be overturned and started anew. But how could it be so easy to change the layout of the industry over the years? The captain of the Bronze Cauldron City personally went out to investigate. The more he probed, the colder his heart became. Because the Bronze Furnace Guard captain had noticed. How could there be any trace of fire elemental energy in this land of lava? Damn the heavens. Do you want to torture Bronze Furnace City to death? The more he looked, the angrier the Bronze Furnace Guard captain became. He noticed a group of Fays guarding this place. They actually blocked his path, not allowing him to check out the situation in the core region. The Bronze Cauldron Guard captain immediately roared in anger. The fire elemental energy in the lava field has disappeared. Is it your doing? So, hurry up and return the fire elemental energy from the lava. The Bronze Cauldron Guard captain became angrier the more he thought about it. At this moment, all the major cities were preparing to build mirror cities in the abyss. Due to the changes in the environment of Bronze Cauldron City, it was only now that he had recovered. Bronze Furnace City, which had just recovered, was just in time to build a mirror city in the abyss world. Bronze Cauldron City was in a difficult situation. Not long ago, two old factions tried to move away from Bronze Cauldron City. Su Quan, the head of the Bronze Furnace Guard, finally managed to persuade him. But now the environment outside of Bronze Cauldron City had changed. All the industries that used fire elemental energy as a foundation in Bronze Cauldron City had been destroyed. Now, Bronze Cauldron City was ranked second from the bottom among the 32 major cities of the Radiance Alliance. Damn it. This year's selection, Bronze Cauldron City will definitely be last. What a disgrace. If not for the fact that he had signed contracts with the high-grade Fays in the lava field. These high-grade Fays would secretly protect the Spirit Chi professionals who came to the lava field to train. In return, Bronze Cauldron City would divide the core region of the lava field for these Fays to live in. Although it was common for foreign Fays to attack the native Spirit Chi professionals of Bronze Cauldron City. But this batch of Fays that had signed contracts with Bronze Cauldron City all performed very well. Thus, Su Quan forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart. Otherwise, Su Quan was afraid that he would directly attack the Fays that the Mother of Bloodbath had arranged to guard the inner region. He remembered that the Mother of Bloodbath had specifically warned him not to clash with Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guard. The middle-aged woman took a few steps forward and said, "No matter what you say, I will not let you pass. Similarly, if you do not force your way in, we will not attack you either. If there is anything, wait for our master to arrive." Hearing this, Su Quan was shocked. Since when did these Fays in the core region of the lava field have a master? These Fays were obviously here to guard the core region. The changes in the lava field must have something to do with these Fays masters. Su Quan was the captain of Bronze Cauldron City's Bronze Cauldron Guards. He could not just watch as Bronze Cauldron City changed because of the environment. The entire city's industrial layout changed. If that was the case, only the heavens knew what kind of residents in Bronze Cauldron City would be. What kind of hard life would they have? Thinking of this, Su Quan gave a few Bronze Cauldron Guards behind him a look. They immediately turned and ran toward Bronze Cauldron City. These people were not going back to Bronze Cauldron City, but to find a place to hide. They were calling the Spirit Guards branch in Bronze Cauldron City, requesting the Spirit Guards to send more experts. Under normal circumstances, these Fays were only at Myth 3 at most. Su Quan alone could handle them. But he had not seen these Fays masters yet. Su Quan could not let his guard down. After sending people to find reinforcements, Su Quan waved his hand, and 2 humanoid Fays appeared beside him. These 2 humanoid Fays were holding weapons in their hands. It showed that the strength of these 2 humanoid Fays was at least at Myth 3. Seeing Su Quan summon the Fays, the middle-aged woman and the Fays behind her were shocked. Just as they were about to defend and counterattack, a youth's voice echoed in the wilderness. "Stop." At this moment, Su Quan was extremely anxious. Hearing someone tell him to stop, Su Quan yelled angrily, "Stop my ass. Who do you think you are? You think you can control me?" Just as Su Quan finished speaking, a small object flew straight towards him. Su Quan reached out and grabbed the object in his hand. It was a small Class 2 Creation Master crest. Seeing that it was a Creation Master crest, Su Quan was a little confused. Even if you are really a Class 2 Creation Master, what right do you have to tell me to stop? But when he saw the moon totem on the Class 2 Creation Master's crest, Su Quan's mouth was wide open and he was stunned. Chapter 1565. He was the city guard captain of Radiant City. He was also a Class 3 Creation Master, Su Quan. He understood better than the other city guard captains who were not Creation Masters the meaning of the totem mark on the Creation Master's crest. Any Class 4 Creation Master who accepted a disciple, they could add their own totem on the disciple's crest. But in the entire Radiance, only Her Majesty had a totem related to the moon. Oh my God! Could it be that I just said Her Majesty's disciple? Just now, in a fit of anger, he seemed to have said something very rude. Su Quan shrunk his neck. But at the same time, as the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City, Su Quan was responsible for the economic and industrial layout of the city. He had to go to the core area to see the situation. If he met the Moon Empress disciple, Su Quan felt that he could communicate with the Moon Empress disciple. It was said that the crying child would get milk. If the lava land's fire element was used up, it would be irreversible. This change was really related to the Moon Empress disciple. The Moon Empress disciple had to think of a way out for Bronze Furnace City, right? Bronze Furnace City's overall revenue was tight. As the second lowest city in the Radiant sect, Bronze Furnace City had to build a mirror city in the Abyss world. It was really hard for Bronze Furnace City. The Class 6 Abyss Dimensional Rift had only opened for a few days. But for Ascending Dragon City, Raging Wave City, Cloud Pool City, Indigo Azure City and other big cities, in the Abyss world they had marked the boundaries of their cities. They had already started to transport large amounts of materials to the Abyss world. They were ready to build the city. Bronze Furnace City could also mark the boundaries. But Bronze Furnace City was so poor that they did not even have the materials ready. Things like building materials were considered economic resources. No matter how poor Bronze Furnace City was, they could tighten their belts and build a mirror city. They could always take them out. But even if they took out the materials, the Bronze Furnace Guard could not do it in a short period of time. They had to drive away or clean up the Abyss demons in the marked areas. The most expensive thing in this world was always the Creation Master's resources. Bronze Furnace City was so poor that the Bronze Furnace Guard did not have many resources. There were not many Creation Masters invested in them. As the City Guard Captain, Su Quan was a Class 3 Creation Master. Last night he was still concocting the spiritual liquid. He was prepared to help his brothers increase their strength. If Bronze Cauldron City were to suffer another calamity, it could only be someone as important as the Moon Empress disciple. That was the only way to save Bronze Cauldron City. At this moment, Su Quan saw 3 figures approaching from afar. One of them was a man and a woman with red hair. At a glance, these 2 people were humanoid Fays. The black-clothed youth at the side looked to be only 17 or 18 years old. However, this youth was undoubtedly more like the Moon Empress disciple. The arrival of the Mother of Bloodbath and Shui Shua made the Fays completely quiet down. The middle-aged woman walked to the Mother of Bloodbath and said with some grievance, "Those spirit chi professionals are very unreasonable and insist on barging in. If I say no, prepare to fight us." The Mother of Bloodbath did not say anything. Instead he looked at Lin Yuan. At this moment, Su Quan had already walked up to them. He was holding the Class 2 Creation Master crest that had the moon totem on it with both hands. He bent over and handed it back to Lin Yuan. "My lord, I am Bronze Cauldron City's City Guard Captain, Su Quan. I would like to ask you something since you rushed over from the Lava Land Central Region. Did the anomaly in the Lava Land Central Region cause the fire elemental energy to disappear?" Lin Yuan frowned slightly when he heard Su Quan's words. He roughly understood why Su Quan was so concerned about the fire elemental energy in the Lava Land. What exactly was going on? Lin Yuan, who was born in Redbud City, had clearly felt the changes in the environment. It affected the city's economy. Redbud City had been raining for many years. The plant phase and the surrounding Fey breeding bases required a lot of water. However, there was one year when the rain in Redbud City suddenly decreased. This caused the production of plant phase that required a lot of rain to be poor. The price correspondingly increased. At that time, Lin Yuan had just taken over the Fey store not long ago. Lin Yuan, who did not have any savings, caught up with the sudden increase in the price of plant phase. It was not a small problem for Lin Yuan and Chu Xi's survival. After understanding Su Quan's concerns, Lin Yuan answered truthfully. "The fire elemental energy in the lava field has indeed been depleted. In the future, it will be impossible to recover." Upon hearing that, Su Quan's face fell. Previously, because of the formation of the lava field, Bronze Furnace City had been completely destroyed. It was extremely difficult to transform an industry. Now, because of the disappearance of the lava field, the transformation of Bronze Cauldron City's industries would be painful. He wondered how many civilians there were in Bronze Cauldron City. Due to the sudden change in the environment and the disruption of the industrial chain, they could not afford to eat. Now that something like this had happened, it had to be reported. His Majesty Cicada Cry would definitely allocate resources. It was a small matter for him and the city lord to lose face. However, even if those ordinary people and spirit chi professionals received the relief funds, they would not be able to do so. The despair of having your property destroyed and your job lost. There was no way to erase it from her heart. Su Quan could foresee that it would take at least 100 years. Even Bronze Furnace City would not be able to walk out of the shadow of the lava field. In order to fulfill the conditions of establishing a foothold in the Abyss world, Bronze Furnace City had set up a base. All the funds had to be invested in the Abyss world and the construction of the Mirror Image City, and the livelihood of the citizens in the city. There was no money to invest in Creation Master resources. The more Bronze Cauldron City developed, the more it would deteriorate. The more Su Quan thought about it, the sadder he felt. His eyes reddened. For the future of Bronze Cauldron City, Su Quan planned to have a good talk with the Moon Empress disciple. If the Moon Empress disciple did not care about this matter, he just patted his butt and left. As the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City, it was difficult for Su Quan to acknowledge this so-called disciple, even if this youth would become the leader of Radiance in the future. But Su Quan did not expect that before he could speak. The youth in front of him had already spoken. This time, the anomaly in the lava field outside Bronze Cauldron City is because my friend absorbed the fire element energy here. I know that this will have a huge impact on Bronze Cauldron City. I am prepared to do something for Bronze Cauldron City. You are the city guard captain of Bronze Cauldron City. You should know what kind of resources Bronze Cauldron City urgently needs. Upon hearing that, Su Quan took a deep look at Lin Yuan. No matter what, this youth was able to say such a thing. It meant that this youth was a responsible person. But even if this youth was the Moon Empress disciple, Su Quan still did not believe that the resources this youth gave, it could make up for Bronze Cauldron City's losses. Chapter 1566. Su Quan felt bad, so he told Lin Yuan directly. Because Bronze Furnace City is surrounded by a forest that produces metal resources. Among the 32 major cities of Radiance, it's not the best. But it's still average. But the formation of the lava lands makes it extremely difficult to mine the metal resources in Bronze Furnace City. The forest has also been burned to ashes. Back then, Bronze Furnace City took a long time to complete the industry transformation. We relied on planting fire-type spiritual materials and nurturing fire-type phase. There was only a slight improvement in the year before last. Your friend is a Fey, so there's nothing wrong with him absorbing fire-type energy. But with the lava land's fire-type energy sucked dry, it affected the livelihoods of billions of people in Bronze Furnace City. If you have to say what Bronze Furnace City lacks, it's the same as other major cities. What it lacks are Creation Master resources. Even 1,000 high-quality bronze phase cannot compare to the loss of Copper Cauldron City. Su Quan could not estimate how much the disappearance of the lava lands would affect Bronze Furnace City. Su Quan had casually said 1,000 bronze high-quality phase. Other major cities would look for creation masters every year to create some bronze/epic phase. It was used to reward city guards for meritorious service. It was to increase the city guard's strength. But with Bronze Furnace City's current financial reserves, they could not even get bronze/epic phase. Even if they had to get bronze/flawless phase, it was not a small amount of pressure to get 300 every year. With the opening of the Abyss world, the price of fire-type spiritual materials had plummeted. It had a huge impact on Bronze Furnace City. Bronze Furnace City's forces were already showing signs of moving out. Therefore, 1,000 bronze high-quality phase was already an unimaginable sum in Su Quan's heart. It was already an unimaginable amount of money. At this moment, Su Quan heard the young man opposite him say in an apologetic tone, 1,000 bronze/epic phase is not a problem. But I wonder if Bronze Furnace City has any specific requirements for these 1,000 bronze/epic phase? Su Quan was stunned when he heard Lin Yuan's words. He did not know what to say for a long time. Su Quan, who was afraid of poverty, heard Lin Yuan's promise. For a moment he could not believe his ears. Originally, Shui Shua and the Mother of Bloodbath were quite unconvinced by Su Quan. The fire elemental energy in this lava land was left by the Jade Gui. Now that it had been taken away, it was as good as getting back what belonged to them. Bronze Furnace City was built next to the lava field. It was tantamount to accepting the nurturing of the Jade Gui. But who would have thought that Jade Gui's body would perish in this place? It had such a huge impact on Bronze Cauldron City. From the start, it was his family that owed Bronze Cauldron City. At this moment, Su Quan had already regained his senses. She looked at Lin Yuan with an excited expression and even changed the way she addressed him. He addressed Lin Yuan as young lord. Your Highness, is what you said true? Lin Yuan nodded in response. Bronze Cauldron City's standard fei. I remember it's a copper shield snapping turtle. You can divide these 1,000 bronze/epic feis. I can provide resources according to the fei you specify. The change in the lava land's environment will affect the people's livelihood the most. 1,000 bronze/epic feis won't solve the root of the problem. How about this? I'll introduce a few factions to Bronze Cauldron City in the near future that can drive the city's economic development. Then I'll provide Bronze Cauldron City with 300 bronze/epic feis every year. Until Bronze Cauldron City's economic situation recovers. Now that Bronze Cauldron City has returned to its original state, the underground metal resources can continue to be mined. I can make a promise. I don't care about the metal resources in the lava land that were previously occupied by factions. In the future, no outside factions will be allowed to occupy Bronze Cauldron City's mining resources. I'll recycle all the mining resources regardless of species, quality. I'll provide cash flow to Bronze Cauldron City. Many people will need help at the start of the industrial transformation. I'll set up the Warm Sun Fund's next pilot project in Bronze Cauldron City. All individuals or factions whose industries have deteriorated due to the environmental changes in Bronze Cauldron City. Help me count them. When the time comes, I'll let them choose whether they want Creation Master resources or Radiance dollars as compensation. Hearing Lin Yuan's decisive words. For a moment, Su Quan didn't know what to say. Su Quan's gaze toward Lin Yuan changed. His eyes were filled with reverence. Just how much boldness and sense of responsibility did the youth in front of her have? That was why he was willing to fork out so many resources. To make up for this anomaly that could be defined as a natural disaster or man-made disaster. Not only did the injection of such a large amount of resources not cause any losses to Bronze Cauldron City. Instead, it was a blessing in disguise. Those factions and individuals who went bankrupt due to the environmental changes and the disappearance of the lava land. Lin Yuan was compensating them with his own strength. It meant that Lin Yuan was shouldering the consequences of the changes alone. Su Quan looked at Lin Yuan with even more reverence. Su Quan didn't reject Lin Yuan's compensation. Su Quan couldn't reject it either. At the same time, Su Quan didn't intend to take more of Lin Yuan's resources. Su Quan said, Your Highness, with such a large amount of resources, Bronze Cauldron City doesn't suffer any losses. You don't need it at all in the future. Invest another 300 bronze/epic feis into Bronze Cauldron City every year. If your Highness doesn't mind, I hope that Bronze Cauldron City can provide more resources in the future. To be able to trade for Bronze/Epic Phase from your highness. Lin Yuan glanced at the excited and expectant Bronze Cauldron guards behind Su Quan. He said, "Of course. Bronze Cauldron City used to be next to the lava land. There should be quite a number of abyss-dimensional rifts. I'm sure Bronze Cauldron City has collected a lot of Law Origin crystals. From now on, as long as Bronze Cauldron City can provide 5 Law Origin crystals, you will be able to get a Bronze/Epic Fae from me." Su Quan's eyes widened and his body trembled when he heard Lin Yuan's words. "Are you serious? If it's really possible, Bronze Cauldron City can provide 50,000 Law Origin crystals right now. I just need to get 8,000 Bronze/Epic Phase from His Young Highness." Anyone who told Su Quan about such a deal would be in disbelief. Su Quan wouldn't believe it. How could there be such a good thing in the world? But this was what the Moon Empress disciple Lin Yuan had said. Su Quan had no choice but to believe it. Su Quan boldly took out all the Law Origin crystals in Bronze Cauldron City's reserves. If he could really get 8,000 Bronze/Epic Phase, the Bronze Cauldron guards could easily double their original numbers. Chapter 1567. The overall strength of Bronze Cauldron City had increased, which meant that its combat power had increased. Under such circumstances, Su Quan was confident. Within 10 years, Bronze Cauldron City would have to go through the pain of transformation. It had once again become a mid-level city of the Radiant Sect. Restore the glory of the past. Hearing Su Quan's words, Lin Yuan shook his head. Upon seeing Lin Yuan shake his head, Su Quan immediately felt disappointed. He thought to himself. He was too greedy. The young lord said that he would allow Bronze Cauldron City to exchange 5 Law Origin crystals for a Bronze/Epic Fae. Perhaps it was just the young prince's preferential treatment for Copper Cauldron City, or perhaps it was a form of compensation. 8,000 Bronze/Epic Phase. This was a huge project that required 100 Class 4 Creation Masters to work together to complete. Just as Su Quan was regretting his greed, a voice suddenly rang out. Lin Yuan said, "If Bronze Cauldron City can fork out 50,000 Law Origin crystals, we'll follow our previous agreement. I will prepare 10,000 Bronze/Epic Phase for Bronze Furnace City. But this transaction cycle will be very long. If Bronze Furnace City decides to trade, I can provide 500 Bronze/Epic Phase for Bronze Furnace every month. The entire transaction will last for 20 months. But the premise of this deal is that I have to get my hands on 50,000 Law Origin crystals from Copper Cauldron City first." Upon hearing that, Su Quan was overjoyed. He didn't expect that the deal he mentioned out of greed would not only succeed. Moreover, Lin Yuan still insisted on the price he had previously given. Provide Bronze Furnace City with 500 Bronze/Epic Phase every month. Such a large number of Creation Master resources were poured into Bronze Furnace City. 500 Bronze/Epic Phase happened to be the Bronze Furnace Guard's limit. Great sorrow and great joy made Su Quan, the captain of the Bronze Furnace Guard. For a moment he did not know what to say. After a long time he thanked Lin Yuan and said, "Thank you. Your Highness, give me an hour. I can prepare 50,000 Law Origin crystals for you." When Lin Yuan heard Su Quan's words, his eyes lit up. When Lin Yuan had traded with the Indigo Azure Guard and the Stormy Wave Guard, Lin Yuan's expression had changed. He was using the identity of the Lord of Sky City. Regardless of whether it was the City Guard Captain of Stormy Wave City or Indigo Azure City, trading under such circumstances would be extremely difficult. No matter how much he trusted him, there was no way he would hand over tens of thousands of Law Origin crystals to him in advance. But now Lin Yuan was using his identity as the Moon Empress disciple to make a deal with the Copper Furnace Guard Captain, Su Quan. Lin Yuan could make such a request. Su Quan could also give them peace of mind. Lin Yuan was now in front of the Radiance 100 sequence. He just had to wait for Genius and Chime's quality to reach Fantasy V and their bloodlines to continue transforming. Therefore, during this period of time, Lin Yuan could prepare Bronze/Epic Phase for Bronze Furnace City. First, take out a portion of these spiritual items. Alright, then I'll have to trouble you. Prepare the materials for Bronze Cauldron City after you give me the list. No matter what kind of resources it is, they can be prepared within 3 days. Lin Yuan's transaction with Bronze Cauldron City was equivalent to revealing his true strength. In the past, he would definitely not have been willing to do such a thing. But now he had an excellent cover. It was none other than Di Wanmi. He now had a Class 5 Creation Master. Even if he took out more Creation Master resources, there was nothing to be surprised about. Lin Yuan had personally seen his master, the Moon Empress, concoct the spirit fluid for 4 hours. Then he divided the spiritual liquid that he had concocted in the past 4 hours into 100 portions. They were fed to 100 bronze phase of the same species. Among the 100 bronze phase of the same species, 23 of them had reached flawless. 75 of them had reached the epic grade. 2 of them had reached legend. His master, the Moon Empress, had such a speed of enhancing phase. She was basically at the peak of the origin world. If he really had to calculate, Lin Yuan did not rely on spirit chi crystals. It was even faster than Lin Yuan's current speed. However, when the soul thought whale fused with the willpower rune that it had just comprehended, Morbius would reach gold. Lin Yuan's speed of increasing the quality of bronze phase would surpass the Moon Empress. Di Wanmi had just become a Class 5 Creation Master. He was definitely not comparable to the Moon Empress. However, as a tool he could concoct hundreds or thousands of bronze/epic phase. It was not a very surprising thing. However, Lin Yuan could not possibly use the Class 5 Creation Master resources that he had obtained with great difficulty. To enhance the phase quality, Lin Yuan could handle these things by himself. Lin Yuan had set Di Wanmi's work goal as the forging of artifacts, as well as helping the 100 Questions Beast army raise the levels of those walnuts. It quickly rose to diamond rank. Such an ability was something he was still lacking at the moment. It could be said that Red Thorn had used the Tongue of Relinquish to control Di Wanmi. Lin Yuan no longer had any shortcomings in terms of Creation Master abilities. After obtaining 50,000 Laws Origin Crystals from Su Quan, the sky had already darkened completely. He was ready to rush to the Radiant Moon Palace to have dinner with his master, the Moon Empress. The situation in the Lava Land involved the livelihood of a large city in the Radiant sect. Lin Yuan was prepared to inform his master, the Moon Empress. On Lin Yuan's way to the Radiant Moon Palace, Su Quan was already in the office of the city guard captain. He started to write a document about the changes in the lava lands. The anomaly in the lava field was originally a bad thing. However, Lin Yuan's appearance had turned the land of lava's mutation into a good thing. It also allowed the lava land to continue nurturing plant phase and excavating ores. Lin Yuan's promise could be said to be in Su Quan's heart. It was like a protective umbrella. After that, even if a top faction came to Bronze Furnace City, they wanted to invest in Bronze Furnace City's ores. Su Quan could directly use Lin Yuan's name. He no longer had to reject the top faction's request and cause the top faction to withdraw their funds from Bronze Furnace City. He could then be the scapegoat. Lin Yuan also promised to bring in a few top factions for Bronze Furnace City. It would drive the economic development of Bronze Furnace City. This was what Su Quan cared about the most. However, he did not know which faction Lin Yuan would bring to Bronze Furnace City. The anomaly in the lava land definitely had to be reported to His Majesty Cicada Cry. Therefore, Su Quan reported everything that had happened after he met Lin Yuan. It was all written in detail in this report. Although it was Su Quan's first time seeing the Moon Empress disciple, Lin Yuan. In Su Quan's heart, Lin Yuan was already worthy of being a Radiance envoy. If such a responsible young man could become a Radiance envoy of the Radiance sect, to Hui Yao this could be said to be a blessing. On the way back, Shuai said to Lin Yuan apologetically, "Lin Yuan, I have caused trouble for you. I will return to the Heaven-Blessed Mansion and take some resources from there, to make up for the losses in the lava land." Chapter 1568. Shuai had now become Lin Yuan's protector. Shuai was the Heaven-Blessed Mansion's mansion master, so it was not appropriate for him to address Lin Yuan as Lord. However, Shuai could not put on the airs of a senior in front of Lin Yuan. This was because Lin Yuan was Blood God's benefactor. In the end, Shuai could only separate from the mother of Bloodbath and talk to Lin Yuan. However, Lin Yuan treated Shuai as a senior. Shuai only heard Lin Yuan say, "Uncle Blood, I've made up for Bronze Cauldron City's losses. I'll move the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's headquarters from the royal capital to Bronze Cauldron City. Uncle Blood doesn't need to compensate Bronze Cauldron City anymore. Of course, even if Uncle Blood were to give it to me, I wouldn't want it." Shuai was dumbfounded by Lin Yuan's words. This made Shuai realize how good the young man in front of him was to his people. It was no wonder that Xiao Qing had developed such feelings for Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's decision to move the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce out of the royal capital was not a sudden decision. The royal capital might be the place with the highest spending power in Radiance. However, the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce wanted to divide enough territory in the abyss. Therefore he had to go to a big city to develop. There were many things waiting to be done in Bronze Furnace City. The listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, which specialized in luxury goods, moved to Bronze Furnace City. Bronze Cauldron City would definitely welcome them. The current listening Heron Chamber of Commerce was no longer a small chamber of commerce that could not even be considered a rising force in the past. Ever since the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce publicly announced that it had an emperor-class powerhouse, the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's reputation had surpassed that of the veteran factions. They were on par with the top forces. The listening Heron Chamber of Commerce would definitely be in the Radiant sect's top faction rankings next year. Such a listening Heron Chamber of Commerce was enough to drive the industry and people of Bronze Cauldron City. Once the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce had taken root in Bronze Furnace City, it could also be like the Gao family in Wind Mist City. It became a pillar industry of the city. The mother of Bloodbath and her family had brought disaster to Bronze Furnace City twice. He was helping the mother of Bloodbath compensate Bronze Furnace City. At the same time, this compensation was a win-win situation for Lin Yuan. Shueshua and the mother of Bloodbath sent Lin Yuan to the foot of the Leaning Moon Mountain. He prepared to meet up with Lan Lian and by phone. Tonight, the father and daughter, the mother of Bloodbath and Shueshua, reunited after a long time. Destined to confide in each other. The Radiant Moon Palace was Lin Yuan's home. Therefore he didn't hold back and used the ethereal jellyfish's node teleportation ability. They were teleported to the inner palace of the Radiant Moon Palace. At that moment, Lin Yuan happened to see his master, the Moon Empress. He was peeling the lotus seeds with his hands. There were a few lotus flowers in the lotus pond that were trembling and withered. Clearly this lotus head was cut from the lotus pond. The lotus flowers in the lotus pond in the inner palace of the Radiant Moon Palace had already developed consciousness. Lin Yuan felt that these lotus flowers should hate him to death. Every time he came here, these lotuses would suffer a calamity. When the Moon Empress saw Lin Yuan, she placed the lotus pod on the jade table. He said to Lin Yuan with a proud expression, "Little Yuan, during the time I was in seclusion, these two major things you've done are enough to be written in the history of the Radiance era. Even if I'm a Class 5 creation master, I'm still very important to the entire Radiance. I won't be a match for these tens of thousands of low-class creation masters." The Moon Empress walked in front of Lin Yuan and reached out to help him adjust his collar. He then said, "Little Yuan, Master is awake. From now on, you can do whatever you want to do. No matter how big the matter is, Master can handle it." After hearing the Moon Empress' words, Lin Yuan was slightly startled. Lin Yuan always knew that his master was very proud. However, his master was never conceited. To be able to say such words, it meant that the Moon Empress was very confident. Lin Yuan immediately said with a smile, "Congratulations on Master's breakthrough in seclusion." At that moment, Mystic Moon walked in from outside the palace. She brought along a spirit attendant and placed the dishes on the jade table. "Young Lord, the Moon Empress seclusion this time isn't as simple as just a breakthrough." Mystic Moon had always wanted to tell Lin Yuan about the Moon Empress lifespan. Because of the longevity rat, the Moon Empress crisis had been resolved. Even if she said it, Lin Yuan didn't need to worry about the Moon Empress. But in the end, Mystic Moon didn't say it to Lin Yuan. Because Mystic Moon knew that if she really told Lin Yuan about this, in the end, the Moon Empress would definitely be angry with her. Furthermore, Lin Yuan didn't need her to encourage him. During this Radiance 100 sequence selection, the Freedom Federation's envoys would definitely cause trouble. If the Freedom Federation had truly arranged a friendly match for them, in the end, it still had to be Lin Yuan, His Holiness disciple. As a Radiance 100 sequence member, he had to go against the Freedom Federation. This battle that the Freedom Federation had meticulously planned for a long time was enough to motivate Lin Yuan. The Moon Empress scooped a bowl of jujube cheese for Lin Yuan. "Little Yuan, the entire world is going to be in chaos. As far as I know." One of the 8 clans of the Ocean Empire, the Imperial Mermaid Clan, has already reached an agreement with the Freedom Federation. The Radiant sect is destined to fight the Freedom Federation after the next Myriad Nations Conference. Therefore, in this conference triggered by the Huihai Treaty, the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids Clan must become history. When the Moon Empress spoke, she was smiling at Lin Yuan. But in his eyes, there was a shocking killing intent. When the Moon Empress was in seclusion, she did not sense anything from the outside world. He was fully focused on activating his fate chart to fight against the heavens. He learned from Mystic Moon that Lin Yuan was outside Stormy Wave City. He was almost killed by the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids. The Moon Empress had already decided to massacre the entire Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids race. The original 8 clans of the Ocean Empire would be reduced to the 7 clans of the Ocean Empire. Firstly, it was because of the Moon Empress' lingering fear. Secondly, the Moon Empress wanted to express her attitude. Lin Yuan is the disciple of the Moon Empress. No one in this world can be touched. People die when they move. When a faction moves, a faction is destroyed. The current Moon Empress character had completely changed from 10 years ago. Untamed and sharp. But the softness in her heart was still tied to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan did not expect that his master, the Moon Empress, would say such things to him. Only in the Imperial Court Conference could such a decision be discussed. Hearing the Moon Empress' words, Lin Yuan felt a sense of urgency. If this great world was really going to enter a state of war, then his sky city was not strong enough. Even the floating island whale had not ascended to the sky. After eating, Lin Yuan did not leave the Radiant Moon Palace that night. Instead, he slept in his own pavilion in the Radiant Moon Palace. The next day, as soon as he opened his eyes, Lin Yuan received the good news from the audio tape. Lin Yuan, Chimey only needs to absorb a wisp of deviant flame energy to raise its quality to Fantasy V. Lin Yuan originally wanted to raise the Thought Soul Whale to Fantasy Breed today. Then he would raise Morbius Grade. He did not expect Chimey to bring him such a surprise. Genius could have advanced to Fantasy V. But in order to wait for Chimey, it had delayed the advancement. Chapter 1569. Lin Yuan planned to return to the Return from Faraway Manor. He planned to let Genius and Chimey evolve into Fantasy V in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Lin Yuan released Genius and Chimey from the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Genius and Chimey might be Diamond X/Fantasy 4 phase now, but they were still Diamond X/Fantasy 4 phase. However, when facing Lin Yuan, Genius and Chimey would be like before. One of them would lie in Lin Yuan's embrace. The other would jump onto Lin Yuan's ear. Of course, this was also thanks to Genius and Chimey. Even with the increase in strength, their bodies didn't grow bigger. Chimey said to Lin Yuan with a crisp voice. Lin Yuan, after Chimey evolves into Fantasy V, are you going to transform into a human form and hold a concert soon? Chimey stayed on the Phoenix Perching Parasol tree all day. It was either increasing its strength or live streaming. It was raising funds for the Warm Sun Fund. However, Genius's current knowledge reserves were no different from a Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Master. Upon hearing Chimey's words, Genius replied, Chimey, you have to wait until you transform into a myth breed and reach Myth 2. Only then can you transform into a human form and hold a concert. Genius and Chimey were improving their strength very quickly. Lin Yuan sighed and felt that he was truly a failure as a contractor. He was only a B-rank Spirit Chi professional now. He had to wait until his Spirit Chi professional rank reached A rank. Then, Chimey could evolve into a myth breed. Fortunately, Morbius was about to evolve from silver to gold. Once Morbius evolved to gold, Lin Yuan's Spirit Chi professional rank would increase along with his enhanced phase. There would be a qualitative leap. Genius and Chimey's bloodline strength was already a pleasant surprise for Lin Yuan. Another bloodline transformation. Lin Yuan was unable to predict which path Genius and Chimey were going to take. Chimey originally had the opportunity to awaken the Luan Phoenix species bloodline. However, Chimey used its bloodline to swallow a phoenix. It devoured the Luan Phoenix species bloodline. It opened up another path and continued to advance on the path of the sonic type. If Genius abilities were all developed in the spiritual energy aspect, that wasn't entirely true. Genius was more like a smart cat's commander. The 100 Questions beasts were a race that could replace Creation Masters. Lin Yuan hoped that Genius would break through with its bloodline. It would be able to advance on the path of a Creation Master. If he was smart, he would be able to reach the standard of a Class 5 Creation Master. Then Lin Yuan would have 2 Class 5 Creation Masters under him. He changed his clothes. Lin Yuan came out of the pavilion and headed for the inner palace. He was prepared to have breakfast with his master and the Moon Empress. When he arrived at the inner palace, he found that his master, the Moon Empress, was actually wearing the Moonlight Crown robe. The Moon Empress saw Lin Yuan and smiled. Little Yuan, I'm going to attend the Imperial Court Assembly later. I'll be leaving first. While speaking, the Moon Empress had already scooped a bowl of bamboo shoot shark marrow soup for him. This bowl of soup contained surging water elements and blood energy. Lin Yuan sensed the aura. He realized that the aura was not much different from the aura on Shark Mang. Lin Yuan thought to himself. His master, the Moon Empress, had made this bowl of green bamboo shoot shark marrow soup. Could the mermaid marrow be from the Imperial Mermaids and Mermaids clan of the 8 great clans of the Sea Emperor? Lin Yuan could sense his master, the Moon Empress. He had a strong killing intent towards the Imperial Mermaid clan. Taking advantage of the fact that his master had yet to move, Lin Yuan felt that everything that had happened during this period of time had to be done. I should talk to my master, the Moon Empress. Yesterday, the Moon Empress had said that the entire origin world would be in turmoil. Lin Yuan planned to tell her about the results of the Celestial Body Council. Lin Yuan had never mentioned the Celestial Body Council to the Moon Empress. However, as Wen Yu's master, Mystic Moon knew that Wen Yu's sacred source life form was from the Celestial Body Council. Mystic Moon told the Moon Empress about the Celestial Body Council. The Moon Empress felt that the Celestial Body Council was rather extraordinary. However, she did not feel that the Celestial Body Council was very useful. From the Moon Empress' point of view, the people that the Celestial Body Council had gathered, they were already in a desperate situation. Firstly, it was not easy to help such people. Secondly, even if she helped them, it would be very difficult to change their fates. Unless these people were all on the same continent. If they could gather together, separated by continents, no matter how powerful they were, it would be very difficult to reach out that far. But now, the Moon Empress was stunned by the results of the Celestial Body Council. Master, there are currently 2 Federation envoys in the Celestial Body Council. One of them is Dark Envoy Su Iran from the 7 Dark States. The other is Azure Envoy Yin Lin from the Azure Federation. The remaining 2 also have the potential to become Federation envoys. It's just that I can't guarantee how far they can go. Lin Yuan was naturally referring to Tali and Bu Pa. The Moon Empress and Mystic Moon heard Lin Yuan's words. They were speechless for a long time. The Moon Empress and Mystic Moon could not help but feel puzzled. The Celestial Body Council was more strategic than practical. How did Lin Yuan use it? He actually used it in this small Celestial Body Council. He recruited 2 Federation envoys. Dark Envoy Su Iran from the 7 Dark States. She represented the hope of the Dark Continent. With Su Iran, when Lin Yuan had designs on the Dark Continent, it was completely justifiable. The Azure Federation and the Radiance Federation were both one of the 3 major federations. Yin Lin was a genius among the younger generation of the Azure Federation who had awakened 2 beast patterns. It was rumored that Yin Lin was from the Azure Cloud Leopard family. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and awakened the beast mark. Could it be because of Lin Yuan? It was said that Yin Lin had volunteered to go to the Radiance Federation. Thinking about it, Yin Lin was very likely to come for Lin Yuan. After understanding this, the Moon Empress and Mystic Moon looked at each other. They both thought that they understood Lin Yuan very well. However, Lin Yuan was already in a place that they could not see. His strength had developed beyond their imagination. Like Diwanmi. Night-leaning Moon needed to give an explanation to the creation masters who had been persecuted by the whale ocean trade. Therefore she killed Diwanmi. Night-leaning Moon could not do anything to Diwanmi's corpse. However, Lin Yuan could use his own method to resurrect Diwanmi. He even allowed Diwanmi to retain his Class 5 Creation Master abilities and become a servant. These were all things that the Moon Empress did not expect. In her heart, she had previously thought that no matter what Lin Yuan did, she would be able to put up a barrier behind Lin Yuan. Apart from that, the Moon Empress also had a trace of thought. She wanted to see her disciple Lin Yuan. How far could he go in the future? The Moon Empress asked herself. When she was 18 or 19 years old, there was no way to compare with the current Lin Yuan. Moreover, Lin Yuan was truly terrifying. It was not that Lin Yuan had such strength when he was 18 or 19 years old. It was that Lin Yuan had done it in less than a year. Starting from 0, he had increased his strength to such a level. What kind of amazing talent was this? At that moment, the Moon Empress heard Lin Yuan continue to speak. Master, I have plans to unify the shock pattern continent. Chapter 1570. Hearing Lin Yuan's words, Mystic Moon almost coughed out the soup in his mouth. However, Lin Yuan had Diwanmi, a Class 5 Creation Master. It wasn't impossible for Lin Yuan to unify the Agaon continent. The Moon Empress pondered for a moment and said, there is an agreement in the 10,000 States Convention. That is, the official power of a federation cannot be used in another continent. This agreement was made by all the federations. Therefore, little Yuan, You can only rely on yourself in the Agon continent. Mystic Moon heard the Moon Empress words. He felt that the Moon Empress words were obviously warning Lin Yuan. But no matter how he listened, there was a kind of the feeling that the Agon continent should be my disciple. At this moment, the Moon Empress felt proud and a little disappointed. She clearly didn't teach Lin Yuan much. Lin Yuan had already grown to be so outstanding. This made the Moon Empress feel less of a sense of accomplishment. But there was a sense of pride. This pride for Lin Yuan. It made the Moon Empress happier than the Moon Empress breaking through. Finally, the Moon Empress said softly to Lin Yuan, "Little Yuan, looking at you, Master suddenly has a feeling that I can't refuse to be old. This world belongs to you young people." Lin Yuan heard this and shook his head. Master is not old. Moreover, with the lifespan rat, Master can live forever. You will always be young. Hearing Lin Yuan's words, the Moon Empress couldn't help but stretch out her hand. She gently caressed Lin Yuan's cheek. A warm smile appeared on her face. Seeing that it was about time, the Moon Empress prepared to leave for the Imperial Court. To attend the Imperial Court meeting. Before leaving, the Moon Empress' expression suddenly turned cold. She said to Lin Yuan, "Little Yuan, the Radiance 100 sequence test this time. If the Freedom Federation's people kill our Radiance's people, no matter what your opponent's identity is, you can still get rid of them in the competition." Lin Yuan heard this and nodded. He said seriously, "Master, I will." The conversation between the Moon Empress and Lin Yuan made Mystic Moon break out in cold sweat. But the Moon Empress was still like this. It made Mystic Moon feel more familiar. This was because the Moon Empress had completely returned to how she was 10 years ago. After breakfast, Lin Yuan went down the Leaning Moon Mountain. Back at the Return from Faraway Manor. As soon as he returned to the main residence, he saw an aquatic rhinoceros leather sofa. They were Shuai, Lan Lian and Bai Feng. Wen Yu was steeping 3 treasures tea at the side, serving the 3 of them. Upon seeing Lin Yuan's return, Shuai hurriedly stood up and said, "Your Highness, my 2 friends would like to trouble Your Highness for a few days. During the beginning of the Radiance 100 sequence, protect the young lord's safety." Shuai did not know how to address Lin Yuan. In the end, she chose to call him young lord. Upon hearing how Shuai addressed him, Lin Yuan hurriedly replied, "That's right. Uncle Blood, you are Blood Qing's father. He's also my elder. Just call me Little Yuan will do. There are still quite a few empty guest rooms in the main residence. You are naturally welcome to stay here." White Phoenix and Blue Lotus rushed to Lin Yuan's side excitedly. Although he had obtained an accurate answer from Shuai and the mother of Bloodbath last night, he still couldn't believe it. But now he still could not help but say to Lin Yuan, "Little benefactor, can Sister Yu Gui really be resurrected?" Upon seeing Lin Yuan nod, Bai Feng and Lan Lian received an affirmative answer. They were so excited that they could not help but laugh out loud. Lan Lian, who was laughing, could not help but crush the tomato in her hand. The collapsed ground was everywhere. No matter how one looked at it, it was somewhat comical. However, Lin Yuan knew that these spirits of heaven's blessings were genuine. The Heaven's Blessed Dojo should be the same as the Radiance Federation. They were all a warm presence. Shuai looked at the laughing Blue Lotus and White Phoenix. He could not help but hold his forehead with his hand. He had completely forgotten that when he first learned that Yu Gui could be resurrected. Compared to Blue Lotus and White Phoenix, he was much more miserable. His tears could fill a can. Shuai said to Lin Yuan, "Little Yuan, I have already informed the Heaven's Blessed Dojo's Grand Hall Master, Zi Qing. When the time comes, Big Sister Zi Qing will send over a silk handkerchief that Yu Gui has always used. This silk handkerchief was used by Big Sister Zi Qing with the soul congregation technique. She gathered the souls of almost all the inanimate objects in the entire lava land. When the time comes, I hope that Fae of yours. Let's see if we can find a bit of Yu Gui's remnant soul in this silk handkerchief." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan nodded and said, "Uncle Shuai, this is very easy. My Fae's grade will be promoted very soon. After the promotion, its strength will increase. No matter how many remnant souls there are, it will be quickly filtered." Shuai thought of the phone call last night. When he told Big Sister Zi Qing about the news. Big Sister Zi Qing actually lost control and cried for an entire hour on the other end of the phone. Was this still the calm Big Sister Zi Qing? Finally, Big Sister Zi Qing said. She would immediately bring Yu Gui's silk handkerchief to the Radiance Federation. Now Shuai had found his daughter. His wife was about to be resurrected. There was hope everywhere in life. It was no longer like before, living only to take revenge. But in Shuai's heart, the hatred for the tower cannon did not disappear at all. When Big Sister Ziqing came, the tower cannon would come to the Radiance Federation. They were destined to stay in the Radiance Federation. When you brought Shueshua, White Phoenix and Blue Lotus to arrange rooms. After Lin Yuan returned to his room, he entered the Spirit Lock spatial zone. He was prepared to increase his strength one last time before the Radiance 100 sequence. Looking at Genius and Chimey, Lin Yuan pondered for a while. In the end, he decided to evolve the Remembrance Soul Whale into a fantasy breed first. Then he would increase the grade of the Remembrance Soul Whale. He would let Morbius evolve to Gold first. Even if it evolved to Gold, Morbius would not wake up. But after evolving to Gold, Morbius' exclusive skill, the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, would be enhanced. The area of the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone would increase, and the Spirit Chi concentration would also increase. Genius and Chimey's bloodline metamorphosis might not be as dangerous as before. The Spirit Chi concentration would increase. In the face of unexpected events, it would more or less be of some help. Therefore, Lin Yuan summoned the Remembrance Soul Whale and the willpower rune related to the soul that he had comprehended. Lin Yuan said softly to the Remembrance Soul Whale, "Remembrance Soul Whale, you are a legendary Fae. In the previous legends, I have never heard of a Remembrance Soul Whale comprehending a willpower rune. Remembrance Soul Whale, you have fused with the willpower rune, which is equivalent to a new legend. Go, Remembrance Soul Whale. Welcome this willpower rune and evolve into a fantasy breed." When the Remembrance Soul Whale heard Lin Yuan's words, it let out a clear cry. It collided with the willpower rune related to the soul. Immediately after, on the Remembrance Soul Whale's body, soul fluctuations were like water ripples that spread out. Soul power gathered on the sharp horn on the Remembrance Soul Whale's head. Soon, this sharp horn was visible to Lin Yuan's naked eye. There was an earth-shattering change. Chapter 1571. The Spirit Thought Whale's horn from before was just a smooth spike-shaped object. Upon closer inspection, one could see faint markings on the horns. However, the Soul Remembrance Whale's size did not increase. But this sword horn was becoming thicker at a speed visible to the naked eye. The originally shallow lines on the corner protruded. These textures that looked like whorls eventually turned into one after another. It was a rune that contained soul energy. Runes collided with each other around the Soul Remembrance Whale's horn. It formed a special force field composed of soul power. This soul force field was flipped and fitted together. The willpower rune that had fused with the Soul Thought Whale had absorbed and released souls. They achieved the same result through different means. After the Spirit Remembrance Whale's horn finished its transformation. Just as Lin Yuan thought that the Soul Thought Whale was about to complete its metamorphosis, when it became a bronze fantasy breed Fae, the Soul Thought Whale's body changed again. Others could not see the Soul Thought Whale. However, Lin Yuan could clearly see the state of the Soul Thought Whale. The Spirit Remembrance Whale looked like a translucent little white whale. However, compared to a normal white whale, it had an extra sharp horn. However, soul imprints were slowly appearing on the whale's skin. Lin Yuan took a closer look at these soul engravings. He realized that most of the souls were collected by the Spirit Thought Whale when it went to the lava. Apart from the soul of the Jade Gui, there were also the souls of the other dead things. They were all absorbed by the Soul Remembrance Whale. Now, on the Spirit Remembrance Whale's skin, there were images of these dead souls. Every time the Spirit Thought Whale breathed, the faint patterns on its skin would disappear. It will become a little fainter. This meant that the soul power had been completely absorbed by the Soul Thought Whale. And those souls that were engraved very clearly. Most of them came from Faes that had just died in the lava field's core region. With the Soul Thought Whale's current strength, it would take a long time to absorb all these souls. It should take a long time. Soon he would have to use the Spirit Chi crystals that he had saved up. It was time to upgrade the Soul Remembrance Whale. At that time, the Soul Thought Whale's absorption of soul power would greatly increase. The Soul Thought Whale's ability, Soul Knot, and its exclusive skill, Burning Soul Rebirth. These two abilities were not enough to cause the Soul Thought Whale's skin to undergo such a change. The changes in the Soul Thought Whale's skin should be related to advancing into a fantasy breed. It was related to the new exclusive skill he had obtained. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly realized something. On the Soul Thought Whale's skin were the relatively complete souls. It was continuously compressed by the Soul Remembrance Whale and finally turned into an imprint. It attached itself to the whale's tail. The Soul Thought Whale's body was also shrinking as it evolved into a fantasy breed. From the previous 2 to 3 meters, it was now about 1 meter long. Including the whale horn, it was less than 2 meters. The evolved soul thought whale circled around Lin Yuan. After all, the spirit thought whale was a living being born from the whale's soul. It had just become a fantasy breed, but it already had extremely high intelligence. The soul thought whale communicated with Lin Yuan. Master, can you hear Nian Nian's voice? Nian Nian used the language in the absorbed soul memory to communicate with Master. Master should be able to understand, right? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan could not help but lament. Sure enough, the soul element was the most mysterious element. Now that the soul thought whale had absorbed the souls of the dead, it possessed abilities similar to genius. However, through communication, Lin Yuan realized that the soul thought whale's brain capacity could not be compared to genius. Genius could remember a lot of knowledge, but the spirit remembrance whale could not. When the spirit remembrance whale chose to look at the memories of a soul when it was alive, the soul memory that was previously read would be forgotten. But even so, in Lin Yuan's opinion, the spirit remembrance whale's ability, it was also an extremely domineering ability. The spirit remembrance whale could be called a criminal investigation expert on the battlefield. Through examining the souls of dead objects, it could make the dead speak. Nian Nian was obviously the name that the spirit remembrance whale had given itself. In Lin Yuan's opinion, Nian Nian's name was rather nice. Nian Nian, how much more of the Jade Gui soul is lacking? How much more can it awaken its memories? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the spirit remembrance whale opened its mouth. A spider image shot out from the spirit remembrance whale's mouth. This spider image was sluggish and did not move at all. The spirit remembrance whale used its sharp horn to stab at the spider image. After sensing it for a while, it spoke. Master, I want this spider image to regain its memories. I need at least 9 more, the same amount of remnant souls that I absorbed previously. Even if it recovers, it can only recover the most important memories. If I want to remember all the details of my past life, I'll need at least 40 remnant souls of the same amount. Upon hearing the soul thought whale, Lin Yuan nodded. Lin Yuan had already told Blood Beginning and the Mother of Bloodbath about this matter in advance. Even if it didn't work, he had no other choice. Let's hope that the silk handkerchief brought by Heaven's Blessed Dojo's Grand Dojo Master. Could it really contain quite a bit of Jade Gui's remnant soul? Lin Yuan looked at the flickering remnant souls on the soul thought whale. He was even more curious about the exclusive skill that the soul thought whale had obtained after becoming a fantasy breed. Lin Yuan immediately used Morbius True Data. He began to investigate the fantasy breed soul thought whale. Lin Yuan found that the soul thought whale's new exclusive skill was called Remembrance Bestowment. Psyche Bestowment. Through the collection and fusion of dead souls, when the dead souls reach a certain degree of completeness, the dead souls can be turned into psyche imprints. Attaching the psyche imprints to the same kind of life form can help increase the same kind of life form's perception ability, making it easier for the same kind of life form to comprehend will and rules. Upon seeing the soul thought whale's exclusive skill, Lin Yuan was at a loss for words. Oh my god. The soul thought whale's exclusive skill, Psyche Bestowment, could be done through human means? Helping Fays comprehend exclusive skills? There were many Fays in the world. It was very rare for Fays to rely on themselves to comprehend exclusive skills. The Acid Corrosion Queen Bee still had no signs of comprehending a willpower rune. If it killed a fantasy breed or a myth breed bee Fey, it would be extremely dangerous. It would let the soul thought whale absorb the remnant soul of this bee Fey. The Fey that it had just killed would definitely have a complete remnant soul. It would then let the soul thought whale condense the psyche imprints on its tail. It would then imprint the psyche imprints on the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee's body. It would probably increase the Acid Corrosion Queen Bee's chances of comprehending a willpower rune. In fact, they could even choose different Fays. It could guide the Fey to comprehend a willpower rune when evolving into a fantasy breed. This ability was simply too powerful. Could be said that the soul thought whale was the same as genius. They both subverted the main world's public perception. In the public's perception, apart from some treasures that could increase perception, there was nothing else that could help Fays comprehend a willpower rune. Chapter 1572. Furthermore, it was the soul thought whale's exclusive skill, soul thought bestowment. It could be used on Fays. Could it be used on spirit chi professionals? Lin Yuan asked the soul thought whale. Nian Nian, when you were searching for dead souls in the lava just now, I remember that you found a lot of dead spirit chi professional souls. See if you can make the souls of these dead spirit chi professionals into soul remembrance seals. The soul thought whale heard Lin Yuan's words. The soul imprint on his body started to wander. Soon, the soul images of the spirit chi professionals appeared. The spirit thought whale's body lit up. The soul thought whale chose a relatively bright spirit chi professional's soul. Then he turned the soul into a soul remembrance seal. It was compressed to the tail. This spirit chi professional's soul had formed a soul remembrance seal. It was much smaller than the soul remembrance imprints on the soul remembrance whale's tail. Lin Yuan could understand all of this. Firstly, it was because of the soul remembrance imprints formed by the souls of spirit creatures on the soul remembrance whale's tail. They were basically diamond, fantasy, and myth breed phase. Secondly, a spirit chi professional's soul force was weaker than a phase. Since he was now experimenting with his conjecture. He did not care what willpower rune this dead soul had comprehended when it was alive. Lin Yuan instructed Nian Nian. Nian Nian, imprint this soul remembrance imprint on my body. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's command, Nian Nian gently lifted its tail. It attached its tail to Lin Yuan's head. This soul remembrance seal entered Lin Yuan's body. Lin Yuan suddenly felt it. In his spiritual world, there was a faint feeling of enlightenment. However, this comprehension was simply too faint, almost indiscernible. It was hard to grasp this feeling. It seemed like he wanted to rely on the soul remembrance seal that he obtained from the dead spirit chi professional. It was not realistic to comprehend a willpower rune. However, a person's comprehension of a certain willpower rune had reached a critical point. When there was only a layer of window paper between them. The trace of comprehension brought by the remembrance seal would definitely have a miraculous effect. Lin Yuan looked at the soul thought whale in shock. The existence of the soul remembrance whale was the same as genius. They were all forbidden existences. He absolutely could not let anyone else know about this. The soul remembrance whale could be considered a key. The person who controls the spirit thought whale can use this key to choose whether to walk the path of heaven or the path of hell. If Lin Yuan indulged in the soul thought whale's exclusive skill, soul bestowment, he would not be able to use it. Lin Yuan was likely to become like Di Wanmi. He no longer cared about the lives of spirit chi professionals. He only treated it as a supplement to improve himself. In the end, he calmed his heart and made an oath in his heart. He would never use the soul remembrance whale's exclusive skill, the soul remembrance, as a precondition, brutally killing spirit chi professionals. But when facing the enemy, he would kill the enemy. Then, using soul remembrance to bestow was a very normal thing. Lin Yuan stayed true to his heart. However, he was definitely not a Virgin Mary who would show mercy to his enemies. Especially now, when the entire origin world was in turmoil. It could be said that the spirit remembrance whale existed. All the Fays in the spirit lock spatial zone were beneficiaries. Even if some Fays didn't have great talent, they wouldn't be able to do so. It was through the soul thought whale's exclusive skill, soul thought bestowal. Lin Yuan could also help it comprehend its exclusive skill bit by bit. He was advancing toward the fantasy breed and even the myth breed. Lin Yuan wasn't in a hurry to put the soul thought whale back into the spirit lock spatial zone. Instead, he took the spirit chi crystals and said to the soul thought whale, Nian Nian, absorb the spirit chi in these spirit chi crystals. Nian Nian, absorb the spirit chi in these spirit crystals. I will raise your level all the way to the diamond level now. While speaking, Lin Yuan crushed all the spirit chi crystals in his hand. A large amount of spirit chi enveloped the soul thought whale. It caused the soul thought whale's grade to constantly increase. The instant the soul thought whale's strength increased to gold, the entire spirit lock spatial zone shook in an instant. Lin Yuan could feel the spirit lock spatial zone's area constantly expanding. Lin Yuan hurriedly left the spirit lock spatial zone with the soul thought whale. Outside the spirit lock spatial zone, the soul thought whale's grade continued to increase. Due to Morbius advancement to gold, the spirit lock spatial zone's area started to expand. The original spirit lock spatial zone's area was 160 square meters. After the spirit lock spatial zone's area was expanded, it should be able to reach 320 square meters. Such an area was enough for Lin Yuan to make more arrangements in the spirit lock spatial zone. The expansion of the spirit pool in Pure Land of Bliss, it could also bring more benefits for Lin Yuan. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard a voice that he hadn't heard for a long time but was abnormally familiar. Partner, long time no see. Upon hearing this voice, Lin Yuan's face immediately revealed a sunny smile. Lin Yuan excitedly communicated with Morbius through his spiritual energy. Morbius, I guess that you would be able to wake up when you reached gold. Hearing this, Morbius's cold tone was filled with warmth. Partner, you're growing very quickly. You allowed me to reach gold in such a short period of time. After advancing to the gold rank, I gained a trace of memory. The current me is actually incomplete. Upon hearing Morbius' words, Lin Yuan lowered his head to look at the Morbius hoop on his wrist. Lin Yuan had long noticed that there were many small holes on the copper-colored Morbius hoop. These small holes seemed to be originally embedded with something. Morbius, was there something originally embedded in the small holes on the hoop? Upon hearing that, Morbius shook its head. Partner, the things in the small holes should be able to be replaced at will. However, I'm not sure what exactly is needed for the things in the small holes. Perhaps when I encounter it, I will be able to sense it. Partner, if there is a chance to fill these small holes, every time one is filled, those phase that you spirit locked can be matched with the small holes on the hoop. Remove the restrictions of spirit locked. Upon hearing Morbius' words, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment. Then he asked in pleasant surprise. Removing the restrictions of spirit locked refers to the phase that have spirit locked, except for normal abilities. Can other abilities be unlocked? Upon hearing that, Morbius nodded. That's right, partner. Upon hearing Morbius' affirmative answer, Lin Yuan suddenly had a feeling that he had raised a group of children. Originally, these children were all paralyzed and could only sit in wheelchairs. However, he was suddenly told that these children now had a chance to stand up and return to their normal level. Lin Yuan did his best to nurture each of the phase that had spirit locked. He helped them create the most optimal evolutionary conditions. Lin Yuan had always been curious about his phase. For example, the other abilities of the Jasmine Lily, Blackie, and Purple Firmament. Chapter 1573. Previously, Lin Yuan had only been curious and had no expectations. But after that, as long as he found the Mobius strip, he would be able to find what was inside the hole. These were the skills of Jasmine Lily, Little Black, and Purple Firmament. Lin Yuan would always have a chance to see it. Morbius, after the Radiance 100 sequence selection is over, I'll take you to find the thing that needs to be filled in this hole. Even if you don't know what's inside the hole, I'll take you to the main world and dimensional world. I believe that we will be able to sense it. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Morbius' stern face revealed a smile. Buddy, you've worked hard. Morbius was a Fae. If Lin Yuan's life had started from his birth, then he would have died. It was like a companion to Morbius. There was a deep bond. It was the same for Morbius and Lin Yuan. Could be said that in this world, nothing was more sincere to Lin Yuan than Morbius. But in the end, Morbius was still a living creature. There was no living being that didn't wish to recall their past. Morbius was no exception. At that moment, Morbius heard Lin Yuan continue speaking. Partner, one day I will bring you along and complete you, so that you can clearly investigate your own secrets. Lin Yuan's tone was very firm. It was like a promise. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Morbius felt warmth in its heart for no reason. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, Morbius said softly, Partner, on the road of life, I will still protect you with everything I have. At this point, Morbius suddenly thought of something. Partner, your sacred source life form, the sacred sword-wielding queen, was fused with my origin power. My spirit lock spatial zone is able to produce pure spirit chi. It's because the spirit transformation pool can decompose and purify the spirit energy within the energy ores. In essence, it is the origin of all the pure spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone. All of it comes from the spirit pool, which releases and purifies the spirit chi within the energy ores. Actually, I think my origin power is more compatible with sacred source lifeforms. I can even change the energy within a sacred source lifeform at will. I feel that what I need is more likely to appear in the dimensional world. Upon hearing Morbius' words, Lin Yuan nodded gently. In any case, Morbius' words were tantamount to delineating a range for Lin Yuan. Having a scope was much easier than having no scope to do things. For the sake of Morbius, Lin Yuan decided. After the end of the Radiance 100 sequence, he immediately sorted out the Agai when continence matters. Before the turmoil in the origin world, he had put his mind on developing the swamp world. During the Radiance 100 sequence selection this time, he didn't have the chance to release the spirit-locked Fae. It allowed the spirit-locked Fae to execute abilities other than normal. However, Lin Yuan hoped that during the 10,000 Nations Convention, the 10,000 Nations Convention would be held. These Faes that he had locked with Spirit Lock would be able to release the brilliance that they should have. Morbius, you should be able to sense that there are two souls in the depths of my brain. These two souls are in a separate state. But both of them can be independent. But at the end of the day, whether it's my soul in my previous life or my soul in this life, it's all my own soul. I think my soul can contract another sacred source life form. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Morbius answered, "Partner, you can indeed use another soul to contract a sacred source life form. However, your first sacred source life form was formed from the fusion of two sacred source life forms. Also, the sacred source life form, the Grace Queen, is a little special. Its origin aura far surpasses the origin aura of the Pursuit Saint Sword. I will fuse these two sacred source life forms. The amount of soul energy it occupies is more than that of a sacred source life form. But partner, you've been giving me control of your spiritual force. I can also share my soul power with you. When your soul power grows a bit more, it will be able to superimpose with my soul power. Partner, each of your two souls can form a contract with another sacred source life form." Upon hearing Morbius' words, Lin Yuan recalled what his master, the Moon Empress, had said. Those with high soul aptitude had the opportunity to contract two sacred source life forms. Both of his souls could form contracts with two sacred source life forms. That was the number of sacred source life forms he could control. Wouldn't that mean he could control 4? Moreover, these sacred source life forms could be the same as the Grace Queen. They were formed by the fusion of two sacred source life forms. Coincidentally, Lin Yuan had discovered the secret of sacred source life forms in the swamp world. It seemed that heading to the Myriad Palace in the East Swamp Circle was a must. He had to choose two sacred source life forms that were suitable for him. Then he would fuse the two sacred source life forms. It would definitely be easier to just fuse with two sacred source life forms. According to Morbius, Morbius could sense the energy level of an uncontracted sacred source life form. Sacred source life forms were formed when an apostle's faith level reached the middle level and they activated their sacred source body. They were formed from totem energy. Bai Yen and the Dark Scorpion Apostle were both apostles. They could form sacred source life forms after death. On the surface, it was impossible to tell the difference. However, there was no doubt that the sacred source life form formed after Bai Yan's death was at the same level. It was higher than the Dark Scorpion Apostle's sacred source life form. Moreover, according to the rumors from Bai Yen, even a ruler who had yet to reach the samsara realm, after death they would also turn into sacred source life forms. It could be said that every sacred source life form was like a golden egg. After being covered by the rainbow light, it was impossible to see what was inside the golden egg. However, the higher the level, the better. Even if Lin Yuan did not know what a sacred source life form was, he could choose it through Morbius' ability. He could also choose the sacred source life form with the highest level of energy. Lin Yuan felt that the Grace Queen was most likely an apostle when she was alive. A ruler who had yet to reach the samsara realm. Even if she was not, she must have been an apostle with extremely powerful faith power. Lin Yuan communicated with Morbius for a while. This allowed Lin Yuan to confirm the path he needed to take next. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Morbius speak. "Partner, the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone has been upgraded. As my rank increases, a new item has appeared in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. This thing should be very useful to you." Lin Yuan's interest was immediately piqued. He immediately returned to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. In the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, Morbius stood beside Lin Yuan in its soul form. Previously, the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone had an area of 480 square meters. This was already quite a large area. Now that the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone had expanded, it felt like a miniature plane. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.